Hey everyone, welcome to IRC Pace Off, and this is a first time event for all of us. And we've kind of taken a page out of Codemaster's book with their mid season promotional events because this is exactly what we have here. And you'll see all of the drivers go head to head in a Wimbledon style format or a tennis style format, and we'll see who comes out on top, who the ultimate victor is. With me today in the commentary box, I have TWP, Third World Prophet, and Rusty Nish, who are no strangers to you, the voices of IRC, but IRC if I may. So welcome to the commentary box, TWP, Rusty.
Thank you so much, MaranelloBaby. Hi, Rusty.
Hello, boys. Pace off, face off, face off. Boy, am I excited for tonight.
Yep. I think we were just talking about the real life qualifying and Bottas's race off, face off situation with Hamilton. So I think it's a perfect situation for the three of us to be in this commentary box with all the drivers out there today. Mara, if you could just give us a quick summary of what all the spectators are going to be seeing in today's special event.
Yeah, certainly. I think today's special event has 32 drivers, 32 of IRC's best drivers going head to head. We have a round of 32 starting in a 3-lap race, a single 5-lap race, and then we have a round of 16, which will be the next issue of drivers. But from there, it starts getting interesting. So then we move to the quarterfinals, where we have, just give me a second, just pulling out my information, so I just don't say anything wrong. Yeah. So round of 32 and round of 16 are a 3-lap race. Sorry if just to correct myself. For the quarterfinals, we have a 5-lap race for all of the eight events, and from the semifinals, we start having the best of 3. So the final 4 drivers will go two by two in a sort of a best of 3 scenario. The track's actually chosen by the coordinator team, and and these tracks are basically built to promote overtaking. So if we had to choose a set of tracks where dirty air, where overtaking is OP, we've basically done that. And finals will be an epic best of 5 races. So five lappers.
Absolutely.
That sounds like an absolute treat for all of us, doesn't it?
I'm excited, and
Indeed.
in fact,
quite the battle royale. Strategy out, tire management out. Is this 5 lappers? And what about who starts P1? Do we have a quali?
Just a second. I don't think we are live on YouTube, guys.
Are you sure? I mean, just
Yeah, even Freeman's messaging me saying we're not live.
what the hell? 1 second. It says live on my screen. Oh, the video thumbnail.
Yeah, I don't see anything live on our
Okay.
YouTube.
Yeah, for some reason it was a test. It was public. We are still live, by the way. It's still rolling. It's just probably an issue with the visibility of the video, but we can continue,
Alright.
guys. All good.
Perfect. So, Mara, now I want to ask you a quick question.
Yep.
Like how we were just discussing before the stream started, today is going to be take the strategy, throw it out of the window, take tire management, throw it out of the window, take ERS, okay, not ERS management, but take a majority of thinking 15, 28 laps, throw that out of the window and focus just on the next corner and the next lap. So what do you think are going to be some key things, because you are the dominating driver in Tier 1 right now? What are the key things you need to keep in mind as a driver today if you want to be serious and competitive?
So I completely agree with what you said. There's no prerequisite. There's no notion of tire wear. There's no notion of ERS management. Maybe a little bit, but I think we're just gonna see pure pace. So all of the bullshit out of the window, all of the safety car scenario strategy out of the window. It's just going to be pure pace and how late a driver can be on the brakes.
Do you think it's also going to help those drivers who may not be performing very consistently in podium finishes get a little confidence knowing that, hey, I'm fast, it's just that I need to work on my race pace and race strategy right now?
Well, I do kind of. I mean, if you look at, I think the first race we're going to see is Fivezan versus Couple at Monza, and I think Monza is a track where you need to choose which lap to overtake. So if you overtake on lap 4, for example, and you burn your ERS there, you're easily going to get overtaken right on the next lap with no more chances of overtaking. So it'll be interesting to see which DRS zones the drivers take advantage of, but I don't think people are going to think about that. They're just going to focus on being the quickest every single lap, and it's that kind of no reservation which makes an event like this extremely exciting.
Absolutely. Rusty, what are you looking forward to today?
Just looking forward to a lot of overtaking. I think like the tier 1 and the tier 2 races itself are testament to how much overtaking we're seeing this season. We've been having battles from lap 1 to the ultimate lap, and now it comes down purely to the driver, and I think like that's so exciting for today.
Absolutely. So, Mara, are we going to be jumping into the lobby immediately, or are we waiting for all the drivers to line up in their
Well,
respective garages?
we are in the lobby where Faizan and Kapil are doing their setups. We still have setups enabled, so let's just move into the game and get started.
Awesome. So, what are your predictions, Mara? You know these drivers in and out. You've been racing with Kapil since the inception of IRC, and Faizan, who's also, I think, he joined in season 2, I think. So, what are your predictions for this battle royale that we're going to see?
Well, I mean, they've both, like you said, they both are historical drivers from an IRC perspective, and Kapil certainly has tremendous racecraft. And there's no qualifying here, by the way. It's just straight up head to head. So I am caught in between here. Kapil has struggled since he turned racing line and all this off. It takes a tremendous amount of focus and concentration to do that. So kudos to him. But Faizan won't be looking at any excuses. He's going to be going for that space. So uh, all bets are off. To be honest, I have no clue.
Absolutely. And just a quick question from a noob or a layman's perspective. Oh, we are starting. So let's start off, and then I'll ask this question. With 5 lights, game glitches, and we're off. The Ferrari gets massive wheel spin coming off the line, but immediately takes position ahead of the Alpha. As we approach turn 1, Alfa Romeo lines itself out. I think he's gonna go for the overtake coming out of turn 2 and 3, fantastically locking up his front right as he comes out of 2. Mara, what are your thoughts on what's happening right now on screen?
I'm wondering whether Kapil is going to go for a move into turn 3, the Della Roggia chicane, if I'm not wrong. If that's what
Yeah,
this
that's
is.
De La Roja, yeah.
Yep. But it does look like it is going to be nose to tail going through sector 1, so it's already turning out to be a pretty exciting race in prospect.
Yeah, Faizan's completely dominated the front of the screen. Mara, if you could just have all the telemetry options enabled as well.
This lobby's bugged. I'm not able
Slightly
to.
wide on the second less more. Catches a bunch of gravel out there, compromises his exit on this long straight, but DRS isn't enabled yet. So on the 3-lappers, do we have DRS? Because I've never tried a 3-lapper.
Well, DRS is going to be enabled. Sorry, I'm so sorry for switching. I'm just checking whether all of
That's all right,
is
that's all
coming
right.
through. But DRS is going to be enabled on the last lap. So the detection zone is actually in lap 2, so they probably will have only one DRS zone in this race, which will be the back straight up to Ascari. And Masoom, TWP, I think we have an issue with the game itself because...
That's okay.
Oh, there we go.
That's
There we
okay.
go. We have it up now. It's finally worked.
Cool, awesome.
Looks on the outside, but then slots back right behind Faizan as they start the second lap. I think Kapil's going to try and wait until the final lap because I think based on how Faizan got a terrible exit out of the second Lesmo, I'm pretty sure he used up a bunch of his ERS to keep that lead. So it'll be interesting to see how Kapil lines up his attack.
You're actually right. Kapil has 25% more ERS, and as you say that, Faizan has a terrible exit going into the two Lesmos.
I think Faizan just running a lot less downforce, and that's why on these fast corners he is struggling. So I think Ascari, the exit of Ascari right now might decide who goes up ahead.
Oh, and another thing, folks, there's no division on tier 1 and tier 2. This is an entire IRC event. So you may see a lot of events where a particular driver has a significant pace advantage. That being said, Faizan doesn't seem to give a shit about that being in tier 2 or not because he's right now pulled out about 3/10 on Kapil this lap.
Interesting, right?
Yep.
The scary part is I don't think Kapil's going to be close enough to get that advantage going into the third lap, to be honest.
He doesn't. He's running out of time because this is the final lap now.
Yeah. Now, this is the question I wanted to ask since Rusty brought up the downforce bit. Are they running quali setup or are they running race setup? What would you do, Mara?
Probably a little more aggressive setup a little more low downforce setup than I would in the race. So let's say I would run 1.5 in the race, I'd probably run a 1.3 or 1.4 here just to get ahead.
Okay.
What would you
Couple
do,
really
Rusty?
close.
I know you race from time to time.
Sorry to cut you boys in, but I think this is when we could see the overtake coupled with a whole bunch of ERS left as he got a brilliant exit out of turn 4.
Yeah. I still don't think Couple's going to be close enough though. Ascari is the
I'm not
last chance he
quite sure.
gets.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not quite sure why Couples chose not to take the slipstream advantage over there. He just stayed towards the right side of the track, and I feel like that might cost him these 2 tenths.
Yeah.
Will he go for a
And
dive bomb into the final into Parabolica, which
he
is
has to. He has to.
Faizan has a compromised line on entry because
Ooh.
and Couple wants to take advantage of that, but he is out of ERS deployment for the lap,
This was
and
so
he's
close.
done. And he's done.
So is it a knockout?
It is a knockout. Couple's done and dusted, but don't worry, folks. We don't leave people out stranded. We have a ongoing unranked session where all of these drivers who don't make it into rounds can at least have some fun. Go ahead, just do some 5 lappers, spend some free time. But even though Couple did get the fastest lap, he falls short of the round of 16 by 2.5 tenths of a second, which is torturously close.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be Couple right now, but congratulations. Hats off to Faizan. He kept the lead off the start line, and I think he showed Couple today that Couple, you may be in tier 1, I may be in tier 2, but I'm going to win today.
Absolutely started P1, kept the lead, did brilliantly to even though he took the defensive compromise line, but I think given the nature of the corner, Couple just had to slightly pull out of throttle so that he didn't go into the back of Faizan. So
Yeah.
credit to Faizan defending really well on the last lap.
Yeah, Rusty. In fact, Mara had asked you a question in the middle of the race. I asked Mara, would you be going for, since you brought up the low downforce bit, Rusty, in between? I asked Mara, if as a driver, would you go for a more quali setup or a race setup? And Mara mentioned he would like to go for a more aggressive setup than a race setup, but maybe not as all out as a quali setup. And what would you do, Rusty?
I think I agree with Mara. I think if I were to pick a setup, it'd be a lot more closer to my qualies or like more towards the time trial setups, if you may. Because you don't really need to worry about tire degrade, especially in these 3 lappers. Maybe in the 5 lappers on tracks which require a lot of tire grip, it might come into play. But at least over here, you're not really too worried about stability and dirty air, given the nature of the circuits you're racing in. So yeah, a lot more towards quali, if not the quali setup itself.
Interesting.
Yep.
What is a head to head like this you guys would like to see in the real life F1, not considering only the drivers on the grid? Like if you could pick any 2 drivers from any era in Formula One history, the last 70 years that we've been racing, who would you choose? Who would be the 2 drivers you want to see going head to head?
think
You want to go down this hole?
No, I think
Absolutely.
given today's scenario, a Schumacher versus Hamilton would have been epic because everyone has this current argument, right? So Hamilton may have a lot of people are saying Hamilton may have matched Schumacher, but it was a different time. Schumacher's a better driver. A lot of people say that Hamilton is every bit toe to toe and as good as Schumacher. I mean I'm not going to put my opinion here because this is not a Paddock Piss podcast or anything, but I definitely think that's a head-to-head I would love to see.
Yeah, I think that's a
Interesting.
head-to-head the world needs right now to rest all the arguments. But something I would love to see is I'd actually like to see, say, someone like Clark or Fangio go up against a modern driver, because I feel like back then they had much more skill because every weekend they used to jump into a different class of racing. One weekend they're doing endurance, the next weekend they're in single seaters, and then some of them were also racing motorcycles. So I think pure skill level back then was far higher than it is now, at least in my opinion.
Oh, interesting. So interesting. That's a very interesting insight. Mara, has the race next race started, or are we waiting for the
we are
drivers
in
to-
the lobby. We are waiting for the boys to ready up, but the next race is actually again 2 of IRC's most senior drivers, which is KC versus the KC66 couple
Ooh.
Kalpesh. We've moved from couple to Kalpesh,
Yeah.
versus Streeter, who we are all familiar
Both
with.
Kapil and Kalpesh, both Red Bull drivers in our Tier 1
Yeah,
season 5. And who's the other one you mentioned?
Streeter.
Peter.
Streeter. Streeter, I think, he's not very regular in his race appearances in season 5, I think. Am
Yeah,
I right?
unfortunately, he just moved out of Tier 1. He will be racing in the Challenger hereby.
I
So it'll be
mean,
interesting to
yeah,
see.
he is a approved driver for Tier 1, so we only put approved drivers in terms of cleanliness and pace into Tier 1 just to make sure the racing is of the highest standard, and Streeter certainly is there. But I think the game has frustrated quite a few people, and Streeter's the latest victim of that.
Uh, I'm just going to get myself a glass of water, guys. Give me 30 seconds. I'll be back.
Don't worry, Rusty and I can hold the fort. It's going to be a long event, Rusty, so get your drinks, your beer, your nachos, your sweets, all of them ready because we are in it for the long haul. Right.
Yep. I've got the sugar rush scheduled for the next hour and a half.
Right. As we say that, Casey and Streeter are just about ready to ready up. And let's move back into the game where we head to Canada for the next edition or next race itself, which is still the round of 32. But just FYI, folks, we have a lot of races happening simultaneously. And we are just going to be broadcasting some of the special ones to you. But as we move forward and move and taper towards the end of the event, then you're probably going to see every single of the broadcasts in the semi-finals and the finals.
Absolutely. So talking of Canada, not so nice memories for you, but boy, did we have a race with a lot of overtakes and interestingly in multiple places. I think towards turn 1 and 2, you can try to overtake, and especially at the back straight, heading into the Wall of Champions, again, you have such a long DRS zone.
Well, if I may say so, you need a big set of balls to overtake into turn 1 and 2 because that means you have to really stay on the ass of another car through the Wall of Champions, which not many drivers can do.
Indeed, but again, we're talking about Casey and Streeter. I think like when it comes to racecraft, I think both of them are second to none.
Definitely, I completely agree with you. I hope we see that kind of racing, don't get me wrong. It's just that we just need a big set of cojones for that to happen.
Absolutely. And where else, if not a 3-lapper, where else are you going to show off those big set of?
Yep. And this is one of the races where we would actually see some DRS action because the detection zone is well within lap 3. I mean the DRS detection zone, which is the back straight, and drivers will have DRS right onto the line. So if things go well, you might. Oh, I just got disconnected. This is fantastic.
Casey's had a wheel issue, so he's just rejoining after recalibrating his wheel. Stand by, please.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kapil, for that. I guess we will.
Thanks, Kapil.
We will probably head into. Let me see if we can get another session up and running while Casey's wheel boots up. I'm trying to see if there are any ongoing sessions right now, but doesn't seem to be so.
So yeah, while you do that, Third World, what track would you prefer to? If you were hosting, if you were in Bernie's shoes and you came up with the idea of 3-lapper head-to-heads on an off weekend, which track would you select?
That's a nice question. And is it going? What part of the calendar am I in? Like, tell me what race we just finished, so I make sure we don't go back to one of those tracks.
Let's not take that into consideration.
Okay, cool. Got it.
Yeah.
I think I would like to do a downhill at Goodwood speed, but I don't think that will fit 2 cars side by side.
Off the Goodwood speed.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why I brought it up.
Race, absolutely.
That's why I brought it up. I don't think it will fit 2 cars side by side, though, so it'll be very difficult. What I'd like to probably see is you've put me in a spot now, Rusty.
Well, that's what he's here for. If I'm
not that's what I think I would choose COTA, Circuit of the Americas.
Oh, interesting. I'm not a big fan of COTA, especially.
I think it's Marathon's track, isn't it?
Very hard to stay behind the car. Yeah.
Go
It's
ahead.
interesting how it's Rusty's least favorite track and Mara's favorite track. It's awesome. So why? Let's hear it out. Rusty, 3 points. Why it's your least favorite track on the calendar?
One, it's really hard on a joystick because if you make any mistake, the whole of your sector was out and you get 2 warnings. But apart from that, I think it's really hard to follow a car. You do have 2 brilliant DRS zones where you can do the bulk of overtaking and you'll have a lot of clean overtakes. But I just think it is so hard to stay behind a car around there.
Another reason.
One more reason,
Yeah.
I just think there are better racetracks in the United States, which we've seen in the past. And
Ah,
I just
fair
think
enough.
yeah.
Fair enough. It's a good point. Mara, 3 reasons why you love Kota.
Well, I'm not saying that it's the best track in USA. I personally haven't had the experience of racing it too anymore. But number one, you've heard that saying by Senna that there's no corner you can't overtake on. But with the width of today's cars, that's really not true anymore. You do have to wait for certain overtaking zones. So I think, but Kota, if you look at the width of the track, the nature of the track, there are so many different racing lines you can take while going wheel to wheel. You can go for cutback side by side. The incredibly fast S section. I'm kind of merging all my 3 points into one paragraph here, but
Yeah, go for it.
but the incredibly fast SS at sector 1, and most importantly, I'm a big fan of tire management, like having to drive in a way that conserves your tires. And if you actually do any league race here, you'd know that the softs are ridiculous to drive on. They start overheating after one sector. So yeah, I love the challenge that brings you. It's a similar reason why I like Singapore as well.
That's actually a very interesting point.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting take.
So
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Actually,
my
TWP, before we get to your points, and before the race starts, I just want to give the team give the viewers a quick sort of update on what's happening in some of the other races.
Yep.
In couple versus Faizan, which you were on board with, Faizan did get ahead. We also had Piyush Gandhi 811 going up against Tani. Tani got through that quite well, quite quickly. We also had Rant versus New Potato. Unfortunately, New Potato lived up to his name, and don't get me wrong, he's a very good driver, but Rant is also incredibly experienced, so Rant did get through. And Rant races Prakhar Vats, who beat his teammate Oxygen. So we had a harsh face-off in the first batch of races. We also had BaBa.G and Black Sheep, but I think Black Sheep wasn't able to race, so BaBa.G did get through on a bye. And we had Duan Not Lipa fight with Amamit. This is a very
That's a damn nice name.
I was just gonna say fight Amamit, and Amamit is one of the quickest drivers in India, hands down, in almost every single racing game there is.
Has Amit beat you in any race so far in Tier 1? I think one race, right? Very recently, I think.
I
Baku.
don't remember. But that being said, he hasn't really raced too much in this season just yet. But in previous editions
Right.
of the game, he used to give me a run for my money on most occasions. It's just that I think he's had less focus on F1 of late. But either way, Amit versus I'm going up against Amit is probably my favorite time in IRC. I'll be honest. Tanish versus Parikshit. That had Tanish come out on top. I mean, I'm not really surprised there because Tanish is one of the quickest drivers, not in Tier 1, which makes him one of the quickest drivers in IRC. And finally, Bioride versus Faisal 14. Bioride got through. So it's Tanish, Faizan versus Tani in rounds of 16. We have Rant versus Prakhar, BaBa.G versus Amamit, and Tanish versus Bioride. So that is going to be, we're going to see the racing get much more intense.
Oh, can't wait for it.
Sorry,
It's gonna be.
I dominated
it's
the
gonna-
mic for a bit, but TWP, I want to hear your take on Kota and why.
Yeah, I will. But I think it was needed. I think it was needed. Just a quick question before I jump in. Are we waiting for the next two drivers to start?
We seem to be going through some technical issues. I am in the process of contacting the.
No, that's all right. It's all right. So let's entertain our audience with a little bit of our punditry on Circuit of the Americas. Then, since we've started on it, the reason I love Kota is because I think Kota is like a chimera track wherein it has a few sections that are inspired, or at least a few sections that are very reminiscent of certain few other tracks. Like for example, Maggots Beckett's Chapel, which happens as soon as your lap starts. Then Turkey's that Istanbul Park Turn 8.
Triple
which is-
Apex.
Yeah, the triple apex turn. Then you also have that towards the sector 3 of Kota, towards the last few turns, just as you're coming onto the start finish straight, you have a section that's quite similar to the Bahrain turn 9 and 10, wherein it's like a left banking, hard braking turn, So the reason I like Kota so much is if you're a driver who's good at those sections on those tracks, then you're going to absolutely dominate on Kota, dominate on at least those sections of Kota, which is how I performed at my Kota race in season 2. So that's the reason I really like Kota. And like Mara mentioned, the kind of track width that you get is it really helps a newbie driver, especially if they make mistakes and they try to come back.
Yeah.
So that's why I really, really adore Kota for what it is.
And
And
just to add a point to that, it's got pretty much every single kind of corner: slow speed, hairpins, medium pace, fast pace corners. So there really, you could see within a lap, different drivers gain advantage over each other.
yeah.
So that's another reason I love Kota. And in fact, I think you were my teammate when we practiced on it together. So
We were teammates in season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remembered that. Yeah,
Yep.
you're right.
But as we say that, we find our wait is over. Casey and Streeter are about to start their Casey in the Red Bull, Streeter in the Williams. But
Mara,
just
I'd like you to do lights off.
It's
and
taking
5 lights eliminate, and the Grand Prix is go.
Mara, take it away.
Streeter gets the run on Casey at turn 1, but Casey, typical Red Bull, with typical Red Bull fashion, late on the brakes. We all know that Red Bull is brilliant on its brakes, but
Yeah.
Streeter is not giving up just yet. He's hot on Casey's tail, just 3 tenths behind.
Oh, I think Streeter's in front and Casey's behind him, Mara.
Oh, sorry, I completely missed that. Thank you. It's funny because Casey's favorite car in the game is the
Casey's
Red Bull,
on a Red Bull, yeah.
and
He's a racer on the Red Bull.
Streeter's
Yeah.
favorite car in the game is the Williams. So I kind of took it.
Actually, was like,
Rusty, I think we're losing you.
Video
TWP, are you losing Rusty as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rusty's lagging a little bit for us.
Okay. Rusty, your
Rusty,
voice
if you could just rejoin the VC, Rusty, I think that would fix your lag. In the meantime, as they exit the hairpin, Streeter goes a little wide. Casey gets the slightly inside line, but that also compromises how fast and hard Casey gets on the throttle coming out of that section. But as you can see, the slipstream from Streeter is really getting Casey on his tail, on his gearbox as we go through the wall of champions. Mara, what would you? Oh, Streeter shunts the ball there. Damage is off, I'm assuming. So, Mara, what would you do in this situation? I'm pretty sure you would do jump for the overtake just like Casey is going to right now.
You said turn 1 and 2, but it certainly almost worked out. And I think this is going to be a tricky race because it's not a very easy track to overtake. But just coming down to the hairpin, what you said that Streeter goes wide, I typically take the same line as Streeter did because I think a good exit is more important than apex speed over there. But that being said, Casey is really hounding Streeter over here. He's not been more than 4 tenths behind at any point, and as I say that, he just edges that bit. But he's now lining up an overtake even without DRS, going into the hairpin. Will we see a dive bomb from Casey over here?
I don't think so. I think he's going to try and exit jump on Streeter. Yeah, I think he's going to try and stay close now and try to go through, get his nose first through the wall of champions, and maybe make Streeter compromise his entry through 13-14.
But what we're seeing here is Streeter with 70% ERS weaving on the straight, and Casey down to 40%. So this will come into factor on the last lap of the race. But as I say that, Casey is right on Streeter's tail. He sets the fastest lap of the race, tries to go down the inside, but Streeter says,
so aggressive.
Not at all. I think that was hands down. No, Casey, no, thank you. I'm gonna stay ahead. Thank you very much.
Yep.
But just to let you know, that was completely without DRS. Casey is gonna have one final go at it. With the drag reduction system up and running.
Yeah, I think Casey's really working to save his juice right now, but he's also using it up. 35-15 already. I think he should have saved it for the post hairpin jump. But again, I'm not the driver in the cockpit.
Get a 2-second time penalty, boys.
This may be extremely pivotal in the race results as they stand, and I don't think Casey has a penalty on him just yet. But the Wall of Champions, the final chicane, is always there to prove us wrong. I don't think he can get the overtake done. He's 3% on ERS, Streeter's 50%. There's no way he's going to get overtaken on track, Streeter, but what have you done, my man? I mean, you had this race in the back. Casey picks up a 2 second.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
A tie between the two of them, and oh my god, Casey will be kicking himself right now when he sees this stream.
Well, last corner madness happening, but not the last corner madness we expected. That being said, I'm going to jump straight into the next race, which is probably my good. I'm no offense to any of the drivers here, but in terms of, I think this is the best matchup in terms of quality of racing for the first phase of the event.
Before you even jump in, I was going to say, Faizan Masoom.
No, not at all. It's going to be Masoom versus Rystle. Faizan is just the host.
Interesting. Masoom and Rystle. Masoom, one of the most aggressive tier 2 drivers, and Rystle, who is a defending champion, one of the veterans of IRC, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
And both of them on some amazing form. I think Masoom just got his podium. Rystle just won a race recently. And we've seen how close these guys are on the track during the championship. And interestingly, both of them prefer to take the alternate strategy, but right now they don't have a strategy to pick between.
Yeah, it's gonna be a battle of. I think it's gonna be a battle of. You know what? Are we seeing a track record of the guy who gets off the line first into T1 first is gonna dominate? Is that just coincidence, or is that something that you're going to see, that if you don't get your nose first into T1 into the turn 1, then you might as well think you've lost the race? What do you guys think?
I just think they're saving it up for later, but I do think we'll be seeing a lot more overtakes being done. But yeah, it is surprising. 2 races in, I don't think we've seen an overtake done so far.
Yeah, we haven't. That's really that's the scary part of today's race, in fact, that we haven't seen an overtake done
We
yet.
did mention, I mean, at the start of the stream, we did mention that for the 3-lappers, there may be an issue with overtaking. And that is a shame, especially to see drivers like Casey and Couple drop out. But I think, to quote Interstellar, the only way mankind has found a way of going ahead is to leave something behind. So, I mean, it happens in a head-to-head tournament. It's sad to see drivers sort of go, but at the same time, that's exactly what a head-to-head tournament is, isn't it?
Yep. And Black Sheep just correcting me there that Masoom isn't in Tier 2. He was in Tier 2 last season, but he's currently racing in Tier 1 among the 3 drivers who are currently from Tier 2 to
And
Tier 1.
not just that, TWP, Masoom is actually the most knowledgeable in the community, at least in terms of what I've come across with, in regards to setup, in regards to understanding the game, even regards to making the league rules about the game bugs. He's OP over there, but let's see whether he's OP on track. The 5 lights eliminate in Canada once again, and
take it, Rusty.
Lights off, and Masoom gets the pole right now, so it'll be interesting to see his defense into turn 1, gets a brilliant exit, and Rystle's already on the back foot right now. But knowing Rystle, I think he's someone who understands the longer game, and I think he's just going to try and stay within 3/10 and save up ERS for the last lap. At least that's my
right there.
early prediction.
Yeah. Mara, if you could just get the dashboard telemetry.
Yep, sure.
It's going to be fun. I think we're back to seeing 2 drivers who are very competent behind their wheels and very competent in setting up their cars, like Mara mentioned. So it's going to be fun to see what happens as we go through 8 and 9 and line up the cars through the hairpin. I really like this hairpin section because it truly shows what a driver's line is like and who's got the cojones, for lack of a better, who's got the cojones to brake late, gauge the other person's line, try to fight, make sure that they get the DRS advantage. So that's a really smart thing to see over here. Masoom seems to have established a good lead, or is that just Rystle saving his ERS? What do you guys think?
I think it's about the same ERS, but just to let you know, Rystle did win our Tier 1 race at Canada, so it's possible that Masoom is up for a little bit of revenge, and he really wants this win.
If I'm not wrong, Masoom DNF'd that race, right?
No. Masoom's first podium. Masoom finished P3 in Canada. They were battling it out for quite a bit of the race.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Rystle
I
on the
remember them Masoom battling it out with Rystle. Yeah. So as we go through this section, Mara, what would you be doing? Let's go on board, Mara. What would you be doing if you were in Rystle's position right now?
Well, first of all, I think Rystle Masoom may understand this game more, but Rystle has raced on the F1 game and has been competitive, extremely competitive, even with me for many editions. So he will not be going for the overtake here. He's going to save it for the last lap. He knows how important ERS is. He knows we all know how competent his racecraft is. So Masoom is in for a challenge and in for a real fight in the final lap. That being said, I may be wrong because Rystle's far lower on ERS than Masoom. Is it possible that Masoom is just so much quicker right now?
It's
I think
very
Rystle
much
just
so.
yeah, but I think that's because Rystle also has to deal with the dirty air in Sector 2 and he's just trying to stay within 5 tenths. So it'll be interesting to see how he reacts towards the first DRS zone. If he gets within 3 tenths, I think I'd start placing my bets on Rystle.
Certainly.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, did you catch any penalties by any of the drivers? Because I think
Nothing
Rystle's on
yet.
2 if I'm not wrong.
I
I've
have. I
certainly
haven't.
not so
Yeah,
far.
I haven't missed. I haven't
La-
seen either.
Let's hope this race is decided on track. But Rystle closing in 4 tenths is the gap now.
Absolutely. And if you noticed over there, Rystle chose not to take the overtake. Now
I,
he is trying to cut the gap in, but in the DRS zone, Rystle stayed off the ERS and cut the gap down. So interesting now, but Masoom
Four and
gets
a
a
half
good exit.
tenths. It's very much possible, 4.5 tenths, but I think Rystle's ERS is a little too low for this to happen. The only possibility is the run up to the line.
It's 2 tenths, but I think Masoom's got him covered
Ooh,
now.
Rystle!
Oh.
Ooh.
Ah,
Well,
well,
if the wall recognizes his tier 1 win and recognizes champion, and now he's
well,
I like
Rystle,
it.
getting
it's
knocked out,
okay if you
but
DNF'd here.
Masoom,
You were victorious
yeah.
in the 50% race. 3 laps may not be a forte, but ah,
I like how Rusty put it. That was very well put, Rusty. Very well put.
Brilliant by Masoom. I think every lap he said the fastest lap, so on paper as well he had the pace.
I
yep.
think, I think certain drivers have gotten comfortable with this game much quicker than a few other drivers, and that's really been an advantage, pace advantage, or rather, let's say, a racecraft advantage for a few drivers. Like you mentioned, Masoom's incredible at setting up his car. That means he's seen his car, understands the ins and out of this game much better than a lot of people who are still, a lot of individuals who are still struggling to get used to the mechanics of this game. What do you guys think, Mara and Rusty?
Um, I think that mechanics of the game aren't really an issue anymore. We've had a long enough time on this game cycle for at least the mechanics to be okay. I mean, you probably still need to become more comfortable with the handling and just it's. I mean, the longest there's no limit to how good you can get, right? I mean, you will keep improving throughout the game cycle, but I think it's long enough for people to at least have a cursory understanding of how the game works.
Hmm. Rusty, what are your thoughts?
I don't have too many hours on 2020, but I feel like compared to 2019, it is quite different. I found the jump from 2018 to 2019 fairly easy when compared to 19 to 20, especially with respect to steering and braking. It's a lot different.
Ah,
Oh,
interesting. So, Mara, what did you have to change as you approached the shift from the 2019 game to the 2020 game?
I needed to stop being shit. Just go, just joke.
Talking of big shit, did you guys see what happened to Limitless the other day?
Oh my god.
No.
Oh yeah, that was so sad to see, especially from the
Minus
lead.
270.
What am I missing a
Okay, so I'll
context or something?
quickly fill you in. So he gets
Yeah.
disconnected before formation lap, joins back for the restart, and he's losing positions, right? I think I'm not sure what track. I think Baku.
Okay.
He's losing positions, and he feels like he's got no grip. So eventually he goes to check his tire temperatures, and his tires are at minus 277 degrees Celsius, and he loses it.
I have a
How did that
question.
happen?
I'll have a question. That's how did the car handle over there? Was he gripping at all to the track?
clearly was complaining, but it didn't look like he was on ice. But yeah, he struggled so much.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Is
Minus
it
two.
minus 273 like absolute zero, Kelvin?
Yeah.
Yeah, minus 273 is so Codemasters have found the new unknown.
So somebody should show Hamilton a graphic of that the next time he says my tires are dead.
You're like, your tires are dead. These tires are absolute zero, dude.
That being said, I think the round of 16 is beginning.
We at
As
Suzuka.
we are at Suzuka in the next
Woohoo!
Faizan versus Stani. Ladies and gentlemen, we are really getting off here.
Yeah,
I
you know
mean,
what?
love
getting off.
Suzuka.
I'm gonna actually correct myself. Despite the fantastic quota discussion we had, I think Suzuka would be the track I'd like to see a one-on-one, head-to-head
I mean,
of all the
Suzuka's
real
never
drivers.
been a.
I love.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, go ahead,
go
Rusty.
on. I was just telling that I absolutely love Suzuka for its character. And I think now that when you talk so much about Kota, I agree, but at least from a spectator's view, I never liked Kota much. But yeah, very similar if you look at it the way you put it forward. But lights out, and Tani's starting P1. Let's see if we get
Oof,
an overtake Fezan with wheel spin.
that was a
So I
lot of
think
beat spin.
he's got him covered out in turn one, and that should allow him to keep the lead through the first sector.
Interesting, right? I mean, we're seeing two drivers going through one of the most difficult sections to stay behind another car in one of the most difficult tracks to actually overtake on track unless you're tearing enough or at least 1/10 faster. Mara, what would you be doing in this situation? And just a request if you could have the dashboard telemetry on as well.
I keep forgetting. I apologize. Thank you for
No,
being
no, that's all
so
right.
diligent. But what I would be doing is uh driving fast. I think just drive with my right foot. Nothing major to it. It's just about this. And when I say driving my right foot, I mean it a lot with this track specifically. In this track, you have to use the differential to get the car rotated. You can't just depend on aero. Of course, that does play a factor, but you can't just depend on aero. You have to be able use the right foot to get the car rotated, to get the back end slipping out a little bit to get that rotation, especially through turn 6, I believe, which is the fast left-hander, flat out left-hander.
Interesting.
Rehan's race engineer, is that you? Just drive fast. But Kanye over here is clearly pulling away. He's already got a second out.
Yeah,
in front
Mara,
of
if you could just.
Faizan.
Yeah, perfect. So, what would you be doing right now if you were Faizan Rusty?
Say it, drive faster. Say it. Say it.
Don't say, don't say that.
Okay, I'm not going to say drive faster, but he should be driving faster. But I just think like he needs to figure out where he's lost all that time. But I'm afraid he lost 6/10 by the time he was done with sector 1. And again, you can see that Tani's just bossing it out through sector 1.
Yeah, Mara, could we see the ERS on Tani's car, please? Oh, he goes wide there, Faizan.
Oh,
Whoa. Tani's
Tani.
keeping it on 86 and Faizan struggling to keep it at 60, right? If I'm wrong.
I think Tani's just far quicker through sector 1 and is showing. And also, I think this hairpin, he gained like 3/10 just on that one hairpin. Now we come through the fabled spoon. Fez runs wide, will get a warning for that.
Well, I'm not going to blame Faizan completely because we haven't really done too much of this track this season, and he certainly looks to be struggling with setup quite a bit. If I'm being completely honest, it doesn't seem if I just saw his car behavior through Spoon, it does
Yeah.
seem that it was too understeery for this circuit.
Yeah, it's not planted at all.
Yeah, I mean
And-
the rotation isn't there.
Yeah, and also another thing you noticed, Mara, he was doing a lot of jerky, like saw-like steering motion. So I'm assuming he's on keyboard right now. I
He's
just
on
have
a
a feeling.
he's on a pad if I'm not wrong, but so is Tani.
All right. So is Tani, all right. Tani's got a much smoother approach to the racing
But
line, as you can
let's
see.
stay on board with Tani through the section. This is what I mean by you need to use the throttle to get the car rotated. Car rotated. Tani lifted there, but if you have your differential turn up to about 60, 65, you can actually take it flat out, but take it with risk. I mean that's at your discretion because there's a high chance of you spinning out. If I'm just gonna address the fastest laps between Tani and Faizan over here, it doesn't seem like Faizan ever stood a chance because Tani seems to be incredibly strong around the circuit.
Yeah, Danny's fantastically fast. I think he's put in much more hours.
Yeah, the gap between the drivers is just 3 seconds in 3 laps. I think you have all you need right there.
Yep. And I think this is the second round of our knockouts, right? I mean,
Yep, this is the second round. This is the round of 16, folks. So Tani did get through by, let me just check who he had to get past in round one, which was Piyush, which he did successfully, and now he seems to be getting through Faizan easily, quite easily as well.
yeah.
We have Rand versus Prakar in the second. We just went through all of that. I'm not going to go through that again for you.
Nah, that's all right. Yeah.
But Tani crosses the line in P1, unchallenged, completely dominant in that Red Bull. For a change, Red Bull beating Mercedes, and we like to see that, don't we?
Yeah, I don't think Faizan's going to be too miffed about this, because if you were losing it by 4 tenths, 5 tenths, maybe even 2 tenths, then you would be like, oh my god, I could have won this. But I think by the end of lap two, Faizan kind of knew that I don't think I'll be winning this one.
Yeah, yeah. I have an idea. I think now that the unranked sessions are about to start, let me. I think Black Sheep is hosting the unranked sessions as well, or if they are starting, I will jump on board these unranked sessions in between so that we can get some of the other action happening,
Yep, yep.
racing action happening, and not just a poster while we talk.
Yep, let's do that.
Yeah.
Rusty, what are your thoughts so far? You've been awfully quiet for the last 5 minutes.
I was just taking it in, but yeah, I just hope now that we've come down to the round of 16 and soon to the round of 8, I think like now hopefully we see the overtakes taking place. I think
That'll
now Tani will be going against, I'm not quite sure who it is yet. I think Rant versus Prakhar Vats, the winner of Rant versus Prakhar Vats, and they race in Spain, if I'm not wrong. Not a big fan of that track for overtakes. But interesting over there.
I disagree with you. I actually disagree with you, but the only factor here is that I think it's a very good track for overtaking. I managed to get a few overtakes done in the league race,
Quite
if you
a
remember,
few.
in the first few
Yeah,
laps.
we all turn one.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not credit to my driving. I think it's more along the lines of uh, just Spain being a very slow final turn, which means in the faster paced corners you do see dirtier taking effect, but you can sort of follow through the final sector in at least the final few turns. So if you get a good exit, there's no reason why you can't overtake. But since this is a 3 lap race, the drivers will not have the assist of DRS on the third lap.
But yeah, I agree with that. But then again, like apart from turn one, where else do you overtake?
There's another DRS zone, but Spain.
I don't quite buy that DRS zone. Like it's a really short DRS zone coming out of a really quick right-hander, and it's just hard to get the overtake done over there.
I agree with you. It's gonna be a tough race for whoever starts in second, or whoever's at second going into turn one. But it's a long run up to turn one as well, so it's anybody's bet really.
I'm actually looking up.
Gentlemen, if I may,
Couple.
we have some sad news that Freeman has dropped out of his race because his wheel was not working right.
That's a shame. Freeman
Yes, yes.
has tremendously improved since he turned off a few assists, and I think he's becoming more and more the driver we all know he is. But it's sad to see him not go up against the likes of, who was he gonna race? BK19, if I'm not wrong, right?
It was
BK,
BK19, yes.
So BK will get a bye, and he will probably race the winner of Madhav versus Masoom in the quarterfinals.
Everyone tuned in. Drop an F for Freeman.
Yeah, but that gives us time to move to Spa, which is one of my favorite overtaking tracks on the calendar. I mean, there are about 3 places you can overtake around the circuit, and that is 3 places if you are, if you're not ballsy. I mean, 3 easy overtaking zones. So I think, apart from Canada, like we saw nose to tail action, apart from Spain, we will see Madhav and Masoom go head to head in Spa? What do you think of Spa anyway, Masoom? Oh, sorry, TWP and Rusty. Sorry, I just keep calling you
No, that's
Masoom.
all right. That's all right. Rusty, I'd like you to answer that. See, I call Rusty TWP. Rusty, I'd like you to answer that.
I absolutely love Spa. What a track! Like it's just got so much to it. Although it's just hard to put Spa in words. You really need to see it to appreciate how good a track it is. And like Mara said, 3 brilliant overtaking spots. And my favorite is towards the first DRS zone after you go through the fabled Orouge and Radion. So I'm pretty sure, like, if I were to bet on one track to see a lot of overtaking done, I think apart from Bahrain, it would be Spa.
Rusty, if you tell me right now that you've been to Spa, I'm going to be that much more jealous of you right now.
No. Unfortunately, no, I have not. But it's definitely like I think after trying to go around the Nordschleife, if I had to pick a track to go around, it would definitely be Spa.
Gentlemen, I'm just gonna refill my beer and be right back. Floor's yours for a few minutes.
We have some updated information in the meanwhile. Street Run Octopus has begun, and Freeman's getting another chance. So we've given him some mercy, and we're giving another shot. So Freeman in PK19 is on the way as well.
Oh, interesting. You can take back the Fs you dropped for
Or
Freeman.
the press F to take back your Fs.
Now I
Anyway,
think they should just pay respect to the IRC community for believing in second chances. But right now we've got chalelerc, also known as Madhav, and notsomahsoom, whom we did see earlier today. I'm assuming it's Masoom in the Ferrari, and yeah, Masoom starts P1. Not a very long climb up, especially since looks like
Oh,
Madhav got a
Shalalock, that
brilliant.
was awesome.
Yeah, I think he got a brilliant start and gets the move done into turn one, and now Masoom's got to chase him all through the rest of this lap and then some more.
Track looks like such a spectacle, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
yep,
As we
it
head
does.
So, Marat, tell us about the beer you've poured yourself.
It's some lovely Miller's High Life, which is one of my favorite Indian beers that there are. This is not advertising, folks. Don't ban this video, please. The
I mean,
FBI
you'll
agent.
see a Heineken, probably, you'll see a Heineken board here somewhere.
The FBI agent
Better
who's
not
watching
sell
us.
band, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see drink responsibly. No, it'll say, yeah, drink responsibly or something.
And,
Anyways, not
as you
jumping
should,
off
yeah.
the race. We see Masoom really struggling. I think Masoom's got a slightly more race day setup than Chalelerc, but I don't know. I think Masoom's struggling to keep his car planted through certain sections. But suddenly I see he's much faster than Chalelerc. So
Well,
I'm not sure
I
what's
think
happening.
in the second sector he is quicker. He seems to have a lot more mechanical rotation than Madhav does. But that being said, do you expect to see any DRS battles going into lap 3? I certainly do.
Oh, definitely. Whoa, this is going to be fun. Bus stop check-in. Who's going to be late on the brakes? I think it's going to be Madhav. Madhav's kind of defending, but Masoom gets that switchback. Madhav kind of breaks in the middle of the corner, so that compromises the kind of mid-corner speed that Masoom had to take. Answering your question, there's definitely going to be an insane DRS battle from all the way from here all the way on to the end of the bus stop check-in. So it's going to be a DRS train battle. And
And I've seen drivers in a couple of leagues, also in the esports level league, where they give the lead, they sacrifice the lead into the final lap so that they have DRS into the final lap.
Well,
It's
I
that
think
powerful
Masoom is
around
being
here.
incredibly intelligent because he could have easily gotten the overtake on Madhav there. But if you notice, he wasn't even burning his overtake. He was just
Yep.
sitting behind Madhav for the sole purpose of getting that third lap overtake done for securing the win without any measure of doubt.
can we see what Madhav's ERS looks like? Ooh.
Both of them are doing quite well, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just feels like Masoom's just keeping his car at the right places and putting in so much pressure or
Yeah.
to Madhav, who's trying to do multiple things. He's trying to take multiple different lines and then settling on one just about the last moment.
Yeah, and if you've noticed something that Chalelerc's car is a lot less, is a lot more understeery as compared to Masoom's, and he's locking up a lot more, Chalelerc.
I feel like he's gone for a really low downforce setup, and that's why he got that great exit. I mean, great start towards the first corner of the race
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. But now he struggles through this entire sector two, and just these fast sweeping corners in sector three as well.
And there again, Masoom was almost wheel to wheel. I'm pretty sure had he gone on the overtake, he'd have gotten it done, but he stayed behind, and
I
now
think
again
he's
heading into the
stayed behind
final corner.
intentionally.
Yeah, absolutely. Guesses the apex. Brilliant exit out of there. Would you complete the overtake here? I think if based on the last two laps,
I would.
Masoom should be knowing that he has the better sector too and he can pull away.
Ooh, that was nice. That was really smart.
Yep, now this is it, folks. This is it. Do we see an overtake happen successfully here?
Yes, I think he's gonna take it and not really. Oh, that was
Really
nice.
overtake there.
This was so. It was fantastic piece of battle between both the gentlemen. I mean, they kept it so clean. They gave each other the room. This was really nice to watch.
Credit
And-
to
So clean.
Madhav that as late as you could have been on the brakes, and he absolutely nailed that over there. Unfortunately, Masoom just had that speed heading in there, and he was able to keep his position.
Yeah,
and
both are
Masoom's
class
already
drivers.
pulled out 8/10 of a second. And I mean,
Yeah.
I was actually and as we see that Madhav is closing back in before the final straight, so it's definitely not over yet. Let's see what Madhav can do in the run up to bus stop. But even though Madhav is a tier 2 driver and Masoom is a tier 1 driver, I think Madhav is blasting away in the championship, and no one expected this race to be straightforward. So that probably is the reason why it's been far more exciting than some of the other races that you would see today.
Yup. That's a definite point in this race. Rusty, what are your thoughts so far?
Brilliant.
But
We've seen
as we say
two
that,
overtakes
sorry,
now.
Rusty. As we say that, Masoom crosses the line with the fastest lap to secure his position in the quarterfinals in that scarlet red Ferrari. So congratulations, Masoom. See you on the next round, I guess.
Yep, and credit to Madhav. He fought as hard as he could, but unfortunately just about misses out.
Yep.
Interesting race.
And now I think we're going on board with Moto Moto versus Harry.
Yep, definitely. The race has already started, so we're going to jump on board to the race in Bahrain. This is another race where the drivers will not get DRS because the detection zone is in lap 2 and not lap 3.
Yeah.
But as we say that Harry is in P2, Moto Moto is pulled out
Quite a lot.
quite a lot. It says 0.23, but I can tell you that it is more than that. Harry has shown a tremendous improvement, though. I mean, you've been in touch with him constantly. He's started driving just a couple of months ago, bought a new wheel, and he's improved some 3 seconds from his earlier time. So, while this definitely isn't a close race, that's probably because Moto Moto is one of the quickest drivers in Tier 1, whereas Harry is just learning the game.
Absolutely. I've only got like brilliant things to say about Harry. He's one of those drivers who really pays attention to all the minor details. He looks at his lap time charts. He spends a lot of time right now on his race preparation, and it's not just about being quick for him. He takes a lot of it into consideration. Like Lewis right now, pretty much after every race, he says, "Oh, I studied a lot on Saturday night." I think Harry's one of those drivers.
Makings of a champion.
Yep.
I think a fair bit, given that this is his first season, this is his first Formula One game, and he's been brilliant so far.
Certainly. And let's not take away from what I mean, Moto Moto is one of the fastest in IRC, bar none. So
He's been giving you quite a challenge, isn't he? In the
Yeah,
tier one
again,
races?
Moto Moto, he was in the Challenger, then comes up, starts finishing on the podiums, and I think he's close to P5 or P6 in the championship, having missed a few races.
Yep. I think he certainly is quicker, if not as quick, driver as I am, which is quite good. And I certainly love battling with him because he's clean, he's quick, and overall just a very nice guy. So it's always a pleasure racing with him. A 26.8 for a fastest lap. I mean, That's reaching quali pace for tier 2 and tier 3.
Yeah, I think he's going for that quali setup. Fantastic. And
Yeah.
Bahrain is one of those tracks, where you can really take that quali setup and play around with it to build your race setup around. You don't have to be too far off. And yeah, that was good. I think, like you very rightly mentioned, Harry Rocks, one of the Aditya, I think his name is, right? Adi. I think he is one of the upcoming fast racers. Like, remember when we saw Tanish for the first time in tier 2?
Yep.
Yep. His name's Harshit, but
Harshit.
yeah. But brilliant race over there. I mean, like, I think that's a fair representation of the difference between tier 1 and tier 2 mostly, but again, like, nothing to take away from Harry Rocks or the skill of Moto Moto. Two drivers in two different stages of their F1 esports career. I think that's a fair way to put that.
Yep. I think very different. This certainly wasn't a good match because, like you said, two individuals in a very different phase of their growth as far as sim racing goes.
I have another announcement. There was an incident between Rocktopus and Streeter during the race in Brazil in
Like,
turn 5, which kind of swiped Rocktopus while he was in the lead in lap 1. And as a result of that, he just kept spinning and just toasted his tires. So stewards have looked into that incident and have disqualified Streeter for causing a collision.
That is harsh, but I guess fair considering a single incident can really ruin a race. I don't know what to say there. Go
when
ahead.
you said he kept spinning, that you've seen that Interstellar meme, right? That just kept playing in my head for some reason.
Yep. Our next race is actually going to be very, very interesting. I think it's Tanish versus. First of all, it's a shame to lose Streeter, but at the same time,
Yeah.
stewards are all powerful and all knowing, so I'm sure that the decision was fair and correct. But we move on on a more positive note. We move on to Tanish versus BaBa.G. BaBa.G, my teammate here. Tanish, another driver I'm very fond of. So I'm really torn on who I would be supporting here, but I'm just hoping for a good race.
What do you think is going to happen, though?
Some exciting racing. that, my friend, is called diplomacy.
Yeah, I like how you're being like, he's my favorite, and I like this guy as well.
Would have been an awkward radio room to be at had he picked Tanish, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Tanish is in voice chat. In the Renault and Racing Point drivers are typically just chatting shit during the race together. We join one voice chat, so yeah, I mean, all of us are quite close. Tanish is famed for having incidents and then going berserk, and all three of us go like, "Calm down, Tanish, head down, drive." Let's hope that doesn't happen today. But he's quick. BaBa.G's composed. We're gonna see a real battle here because both of these drivers are. BaBa.G's experience, Tanish is raw pace. I think it's a Leclerc versus Vettel situation. Not with.
And we are moving, and I believe this is a quarterfinal, so it'll be a 5-lapper as opposed to a 3-lapper. So that's going to change things a little bit as well.
Certainly. And 5 lights out for our quarterfinals, our first of our quarterfinals that we're seeing in 5 lappers. So you guys are going to have to be a bit more patient and watch and listen to us for about 2 more laps than you would normally. But BaBa.G with a brilliant start to turn 1. He's ahead well before the braking zone. Doesn't even need to defend the inside. And off we go. But Tanish has a brilliant exit out of turn 2. Will he get BaBa.G in the run-up to Della Roggia? Because BaBa.G certainly, I'm sure, will be running a quick, fast setup, but
Tanish seems to be side by side though immediately. He's not waiting for an overtaking opportunity to overtake. I think he's trying to keep his car as close as possible. As you can see, we're going to be going through the 2 Lesmos now, and Tanish, as you can see, keeps his car quite close to BaBa as we now head towards that straight that leads you to Ascari. This is gonna kind of tell us what Tanish is going to go for. Yeah, now I see Tanish really good on the ERS. Can we see BaBa's ERS, please, just quickly? Yeah, perfect. Both are on very similar ERS gauges right now, but I see Tanish not closing in the gap as much through this section as we go through Parabolica. Okay, he does. He closed it by
Well,
1.2 seconds.
Tanish will burn 10% more ERS there, but more importantly, he didn't have a good run through Ascari, so I don't think that's completely representative of the race as it is. I think it's going to be far closer in the coming 4 laps. Wait, this is a three.
But interestingly, sorry to cut you in, but the game says that it's a 3-lapper. Not sure what happened over there. But as of now, it is a 3-lapper. I'm pretty sure
Yep.
the admins know what they're doing.
Yep, certainly. I'm just gonna. In the meanwhile, I'm just quickly. Rusty, could you just text Kapil and see if that is intended or whether it's a mistake?
Yep.
I like how Rusty said that, like almost like he was throwing shade at the host for 1-2 seconds.
Well, I think everyone should throw a bit of shade at the host. We'll find out who it is soon, but throw a bit of shade at the host if these drivers have to redo the race.
Press F, guys, in chat to pay your respects to the host who's gonna get roasted now.
That's fine. It's at least. I mean, what do we do here? I mean, it's a tough event for a lot of people to manage. People make mistakes, but doesn't mean as friends we can't give them shit about it. So.
And you talk about giving shit. So at IRC, we do give a shit about time. So the quarterfinals are going to be 3-lappers, and the semifinals will continue being best of 3 5-lappers.
Okay then, that's an unexpected change, but it's a change nevertheless. BaBa.G with this fastest lap of 120.5, and he's really pulling away from Tanish here. He does not have the. Tanish needs to respond quicker, but Tanish is out of ERS, and BaBa.G has 50%.
He's burnt it all off, and I just think BaBa.G is having a great run through over here, because I think every sector BaBa.G has been gaining some. Tanish has not had any one sector where he's clearly pegging back on that lead.
Definitely, definitely.
Interesting race so far. I mean, I would like to know what your thoughts are on Tanish's racecraft and BaBa.G's racecraft, Mara, because you've very closely raced with both of them. BaBa.G being your teammate this season.
Well, I would say BaBa.G he's got a bit of the Albon effect going on, that he doesn't do too well in quali, but in the race he's one of the best drivers on the grid, and I think if I were to choose between having a teammate who's quick in race trim or quali trim, I'll go for race trim 9 out of 10 days a week. Oh, so 6 out of 7 days a week, sorry. I was saying 9 out of 10 times, but then never mind. Bit of a dumbass move by me.
Yeah, understood. And what about Tanish?
Yeah.
He gets the race win over there, gets it done. No sweat up there.
I mean, this was a pretty straightforward win for BaBa.G, but that just shows you why he's gotten through the first 3 rounds and on to the semi-finals, my man. And the good thing is, I'm not disappointed by either one over here. It's a win-win for me either way.
Yeah, so that's just in one sentence, if you could tell us, Mara, what are your thoughts on our boy Tanish's racecraft in general?
He needs to cool down a little bit. I think he's a very, very passionate racer, very passionate in terms of his driving. He wants his need to improve, and most importantly, he's hungry. So I get about 20 DMs of him every day asking him for tips and tricks and practice sessions. Loop me in here, loop me in there, and I'm just said, of course, man. And it doesn't bother me one bit because that level of hunger is something I love seeing in drivers.
Interesting.
What do you think? Stereotypical young gun.
He's like Hamilton when Hamilton walked up to Zach. What was that guy's name? The McLaren CEO, the ex-McLaren CEO. Forgot his name. It's like how he walked up to him and he said, "I'm gonna be in your team one day,"
Yep. Rocktopus was. Meanwhile, this is. I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on from Rocktopus versus Moto Moto.
Ron Dennis. Thank you so much, Black Sheep.
I'm going to move on from Rocktopus versus Moto Moto because that race seems done and dusted already. We all know Moto Moto is incredibly strong around Spa. So I don't think it's much of a fight. We're going to move to Freeman versus Mahsoom because that is a battle which I think is the Ferrari battle of Tier 1. So we see two
That's
teammates
the one we need to watch. Yep.
two teammates going up against each other.
It's heading into the team radio now.
I think I have a feeling that Masoom's gonna Freeman's gonna dominate lap 1 and Masoom's gonna dominate in lap 3. Lap 1 and 2, Freeman's gonna dominate and Masoom's gonna dominate lap 3. I have a
Well,
feeling.
I
But
just hope.
again, we are in. Yeah, go on.
Go ahead.
We are at Monza, right? No,
Canada.
Canada.
in Canada. Yeah. So again, like I feel like I agree with you. I think Masoom's been really calculative so far today, and that's probably what's going to get reflected.
Exactly.
Good evening, ladies. How's the show so far?
You should be telling us, couple.
Best part was when you went out.
Thanks for reminding me.
Ouch.
I will have to bear with this for the rest of my life.
But 5 lights and off we go. The battle of the Ferraris. I wish this was at Monza. It would have made so much more sense on the wider terms. But Masoom starting P1 holds the lead into turn 1 and turn 2. Already has a 4.5 lead on Freeman.
As we see that Freeman kicks up a bit of dirt on the exit of turn 2. Masoom is definitely the lead driver in the championship standings for Ferrari. I just hope we don't see a repeat of Brazil 2019 here when Ferraris go head to head. But as long as that doesn't happen, any other scenario is good.
Couple.
While we see them
Yes.
couple, you had some news for us.
No, I do not.
No,
Oh.
couple's in the box with us now.
Okay, so coupled with his cameo appearances and the racing as it is today, we have all of the content for you from IRC. Anyway, couple, how's the unranked session going with Black Sheep, which Black Sheep is hosting?
I'm gonna be honest. Nobody's joined. So there's no session.
Okay.
That's because they're all tuned in to watch our stream. I hope.
Well, I don't blame them because we've had some pretty exciting races so far. Which has been your favorite race?
My race.
Yeah, I was gonna say that his race.
How did it feel to be
No,
knocked
but,
out to?
The most spicy one would be Strater and Octopus with that collision causing a haywire. But yeah.
Right. I know it's certainly a shame, but of course stewards have to look into incidents, especially for the shorter races where incidents can cause so much of an effect. Either way, Freeman seems to have pulled the gap back to Masoom. Is this signs of an overtake in lap 3 for our man Freeman? What do you think, Rusty?
Yeah, he's 4 tenths down, and I think if he's able to head into the final lap with about 3 tenths, I think like that would put him in a good spot. He's got about 60% ERS, but Masoom gets a brilliant exit out there. But now with the slipstream, Freeman's back at him. Can we check Masoom's ERS? Okay, Masoom's got 87. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be
So
difficult
that
for
could
Freeman to
be-
overtake, even though he does seem like the quicker car right now.
Indeed, not quite sure what happened in lap 1. I just think it's probably a really bad getaway and he was just trying to come back from it. As you can see, he set the fastest lap. He's cut down the gap and it'll be really hard now. I don't quite think it'll be possible.
But it's still very
You guys
close.
know why?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you guys know why I'm not saying anything, right? It's whenever I make a prediction, there's a commentator's curse. That's why I'm not saying anything since you guys switch to the stream.
Either way,
Yeah, I
these guys have been nose to tail the entire race almost, and it looks like Masoom is safe. I'll be honest, it doesn't look like Freeman is within touching distance unless Masoom has a bit of a lively moment, which he doesn't. He keeps it clean and stable. But yeah, I think in the last sector, Masoom's really stretched his legs, used his ERS, 20% of it, and Freeman looks to have gained ERS, which isn't the objective of these 3 laps, Freeman. Yeah.
But right now, I just think the Ferrari boys are going on a stroll, just finishing it up.
Well, Vettel certainly is going to a stroll.
Nice.
I want some of that beer.
See
you're
what you
having.
did there.
Yep. This is a good race by Masoom, and he is looking dominant. What do you think are his chances to actually close out the
I thought you were
championship?
going to say this is good beer.
That's a given, isn't it? But what do you think are Masoom's chances in closing out the championship? Because up against drivers like BaBa.G, up against drivers like um, I think Myth is out, but Moto Moto. Do you think he has a chance?
Interesting, because Moto Moto and Masoom will not meet at the finals, but they will be seeing each other in the semi-finals up next. And on the other side, we've got Tani and BaBa.G as Tani beat Rand.
Yeah. So just to let you know, there's two semi-finals. So Tani had to get past. Yeah, I think you saw the. I think sorry.
So
I
I'm
just
gonna
zoned out there for a
answer
second.
your question as well. So you asked that question about how. Can you just repeat the driver's name?
Masoom, whether he has a chance
How
to win.
Masoom, yeah, how Masoom is gonna fare against the other drivers. So the thing with Masoom is right. He is an incredibly quick driver, but he's not a consistent and quick driver, if you know what I mean.
I think
So he
I
will.
think it's the other way around though. Don't you think so as well?
I disagree. I think Masoom probably, at least from what I've seen so far this season, does not have the one lap pace, but I think he's one of the most consistent drivers when it comes to putting up identical lap times.
Interesting. Uh, I've always had Masoom as the driver who he'll take those 3 laps and deliver blistering fast pace through those 3 laps, but then for the rest of the race he's kind of struggling to find that consistency. But at the same time, I think all been observing these drivers through the season, so I think we all have an amazing insight to each of these drivers. So
Hello there again.
where do you keep
Um,
going all the time?
well, I'm coordinating as well, so don't mind me. I'm a fly on the wall, as they say. Um, Maranello, do you have the standings and the entire tournament to show for our viewers tonight?
I actually don't have that up for view. I can try, but it does seem like I will have to set something up because the
Yeah.
only thing I can do is share my.
You can.
1 second. Finals is about to start between Masoom and Moto Moto in Canada again. So it seems like all of Masoom's races are being here. But that being said, semi-finals are a best of 3. So it's not going to be just Canada, and it's a 5-lap race from here on out. So it's going to be 5 laps of scintillating action between the Ferrari of Masoom and the AlphaTauri, I believe, of Moto Moto. But yeah, what are your predictions here? Do you think that is going to be very track dependent, or are we going to see Masoom running away with it? We're going to see Moto Moto running away with it. What are your predictions, gentlemen? And TWP, it's okay if you jinx things, commentators.
Yeah, I think
They can't be taken to court. It's fine.
I think Moto Moto is gonna like really dominate from the third T2 onwards.
Interesting. I was gonna go the other way.
Well, Masoom
Considering
starts
he's
ahead in
starting,
Canada, and
yeah.
5 laps eliminate. And if Masoom can keep it ahead into turn 1, he gets a lot of wheel spin. Moto Moto closes the gap in. Masoom has the inside.
Yep, man, if
And
you could just be dash.
Moto
They
turns
touch!
in.
Oh,
Moto turns
And
in
they
on.
touch, Martin. They touch.
Moto turns in over there on
See?
Masoom. I'll let the
Didn't I tell
stewards
you
decide.
every time I make a prediction, something happens?
I'll let the stewards decide more over there, but it certainly looked like there was
I
not much space
disagree.
left.
I feel like it's closer to a racing
Hold
incident
on,
rather
hold
than
on. Moto Moto
Yeah.
is waiting for Masoom, so the race is still going to be on, folks. It's incredible
Oh,
sportsmanship
did
by
he
the
slow
Alpha.
down?
Yeah, he has. He's incredible sportsmanship by the AlphaTauri drivers. So kudos to you, Moto. I think that was really, really nice of you.
I think he didn't want it to be like, okay, I'm all the way in front. It's like let's race, dude. Let's race.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
That just shows you a lot of the mentality of these drivers is we don't want to just win, we want to fight.
We want to race, yep. And that was really cool. I mean, I think Moto Moto just gets up. Everyone in the chat, press F to pay respects to that amazing. Like in the F1 game, you get rewarded how you do your interviews. You get either sportsmanship or you get what are the two things? Sportsman
Showmanship,
or
showmanship,
competitive, right?
showmanship.
Showmanship, yeah. I think we are going to be that's just 5 points in that sportsmanship right there.
I'm going to put it down to a combination of both here. Like showmanship to give us a nice view, but
Yeah.
sportsmanship to just Either way, yeah, I think Rusty. But to your point, I kind of agree with you. I think that under normal race circumstances, I would agree with you. But given this is a 3-lap race and every wheel-to-wheel action should be promoted, maybe there wasn't enough space there. But Moto did have did have rights to that corner. So if it is taken to the stewards, I'll let them decide. But more importantly, Masoom picks up a 2-second time penalty. I wonder if he got any warnings at the first corner. Would we be able to see that here? I think he most certainly did because he got 3
3 warnings. Yeah. Again, he would have probably picked those up because of how hot his tires were as he went on that spin.
Not just that, I think when rejoining, since he rejoined from the pit lane,
Yeah.
he would have gotten 1 warning there. So if he doesn't get any more warnings and the stewards deem it enough, he may get it removed. You never know. That being said, they just traded fastest laps within a tenth of each other. So game on, folks.
This just in, we have reached a verdict on turn 1 incident, and we find Moto Moto is at fault, so 3 seconds will be added to his race time.
Oof. But doesn't that sportsmanship count for anything? I mean,
I mean, not
But I
enough.
have another question. So does he know? Like, did you let him know
We
that
have
he's
not
got
told
3
him yet.
I think we should tell him
that's
during the
going to be
race
hard.
itself.
Yeah.
If he's in VC,
Yes.
might want to tell him during the race.
Or just send
He's
him a
not in
text on
VC.
Steam. He'll be able to read it if he's got his overlay turned on.
Yeah, you might want to
I
tell
don't.
Masoom as well. Both of them
I
should
think.
know.
Yeah, I think it's gonna really come back to bite him, Moto Moto. Really, it's gonna really
Yeah,
come back to bite
he's
him.
got 3 warnings as well. Probably one of them is for the contact.
And 2 corner cuts, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Because if he did have 3 warnings for corner cutting, he would have got a penalty by now, I think.
Yeah, and Masoom's cutting down the gap. He's chipping at him. Every lap he's down a 2 tenths, and now the
That's
gap's
because-
less than half a second.
Yeah, Moto Moto's got 10% of ERS left, and Masoom's got 60% to play with for the last 2 laps. Ladies and gentlemen, this is. The stewards have really thrown it into the picks. I don't know if it was deserved, but it certainly is. I don't know if this is a fight anymore, unless.
Yeah, I would have. If I was Masoom, this is where I'd lose. No, if I was Moto Moto, this is where I'd lose my faith in humanity.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, he lost more than 5 seconds slowing down for
Yep.
Masoom, but
He lost. Yep.
well,
Yep.
life never favors the nice guy, does it?
It never does. I mean, that's what I'm saying, right? This is like when you truly like lose faith in doing good.
Let me chip in here, guys. Sorry, did I miss Moto waiting for Masoom?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh,
7.
that was probably right at the moment when we gave him the penalty, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think he had pulled out the gap to 7.5 seconds, and this let Masoom catch back up to 1.5. So
Just after 3-4, before 7-8, that's where he slowed down completely.
Ah, that's unlucky.
yeah.
Yep.
But well, drivers, even if I think they've done their best, but
Yep.
incidents happen. Got to live with it. I think Streeter was the most unfortunate incident
Yep.
for today, where he got disqualified.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. That's
And-
racing.
Yep. And just to introduce that voice in the middle, I think all of you all know Black Sheep. He's one of our head stewards. So he was one of the gentlemen responsible for taking that decision on Moto Moto, which is why he joined and inquired with regards
Yeah,
to when
so-
that incident happened.
I think that if all of you are unhappy with that decision and want to find somebody to blame, you know who to talk to right now. So
That's
Black-
not what I meant.
Black-
Mara, that's not what I meant, Mara. That's not what I meant.
But as you say that Masoom is within 3.5 tenths, is he looking to do this on track on the final lap? He's looking down the inside, but he's not close enough. Into the
Yep, I
he
think-
gets the cutback.
Ooh, they were wheel to wheel, and Masoom gets the move done.
Fantastic!
Oh
Fantastic!
my god.
That's a
But
brilliant
we can
race.
forget about the stewards' verdict. It never happened. Moving on.
No, but Masoom had a time penalty which he might appeal for.
Let's just see if he
Sure.
got any additional penalties or any additional warnings, because if he got more warnings, there's no way it's going to be removed. No, he didn't. I think it could be if he provides the evidence. Though that is the key factor here. So we're
What
probably
is the
going to.
gap?
It was gap was it is
I think
1
2 tenths.
2 tenths, yes, 2 tenths.
Yeah. So with the verdict in place, Masoom has won the first round.
Brilliant.
Perfect. The
So,
verdict
but-
stands,
but
so
that
penalty or no
battle-
penalty.
Yeah. Yeah, but that battle's not over yet. We've still got 2 races to take you by, and Moto Moto still holds a very good chance.
Yep, definitely.
I'll be right back.
Sure. We are
Sure.
the next race actually takes us to the beautiful circuit of Catalonia, where Moto and Masoom will, I think, couple. Is there any grid order that they started?
I don't think couple is
Yeah,
here.
it is a custom grid. So since Masoom started in P1 in the last race, Moto Moto will start in P1 this race. I was waiting for couple to tell you that, but I thought I'd just update you in the meanwhile.
Yep.
The countdown has started for the lobby, folks. We're just waiting for Moto Moto to ready up, and we can jump straight back into it. But round 1 and first battle goes to Masoom. I just hope Moto Moto is aware of it.
This is going to be a fun race, I think. One thing that happens as a driver immediately. I mean, if all of y'all remember the incident that's on your screen right now, the Vettel Hamilton incident. When an incident like that happens, you are 3 tenths faster immediately in the next race just because of your rage. So I really look forward to seeing a good race happening in between Moto Moto and Notsomahsoom in this race, in this circuit, especially considering Catalonia is not known for its overtakes, but it's known for tire maintenance and not going too hard and getting race position much earlier, qualifying position. Mara, what do you think? What do you think is going to be happening in this race?
It's a fight to the death. I'm just joking.
Talking of fight to the death, can we take a moment to appreciate notsomahsoom's move? After the Wall of Champions, stays right behind Moto Moto, conserves his ERS all race long to get that move done, heading into the finish line. That couldn't have been scripted better.
I think it just shows how mentally calm Masoom is behind the wheel, because it's not easy to plan those moves out, and he certainly made it look like WWE pre-scripted and recorded. So kudos to you for
WWE.
yeah, I'm just messing around here. We're talking.
That was a nice example.
We have a lot of spicy news that just came in after the race. So even though the stewards took the race into our own hands, Masoom was defending Moto Moto, saying that, you know what, I actually understeered and went in too hot into turn 1, and that's why he's trying to, I don't know, give that back the position to Moto Moto. That's how it's looking like right now. So, but we've overruled it to say, you know what, he did not leave any space, so this round is going to notsomahsoom.
So even though the driver does not want to report, stewards have taken matters into their own hands, as they should, to keep everything 100% fair. But I think it just shows you we seem to have an error. But until that goes back, it just shows you that all of these drivers, above being incredibly competitive, they're just genuinely good people, and that's what we love to see. They're just great sportsmen.
This is going to be a fun race. I'm expecting to see. Who do you think is going to be in the finals? Couple, Black Sheep, Rusty, Maranello.
Oh,
I don't know, man. It's too close to call right now. These two are neck and neck.
If you
It's
had to
gonna-
choose.
If I did have to choose, I'm gonna go with the Ferrari boy here. He's on top of his game. He knows the game better than anyone. He knows it technically amazingly. He really is the Vettel of IRC right now.
I think that's the perfect explanation for Masoom right there, in terms of being as calculated and as intelligent.
But whether that'll come back to bite him with the Spinala in round 2 and 3, we just have to wait and find out.
Yep. And what do you think, Black Sheep?
I don't know. I'll have to go 50-50, I think. Moto Moto, we all know, is very, very quick. We saw him in Canada as well. I think he got a bit unlucky. But I do think Masoom has got a very stable head on his shoulders, and that really benefits him a lot more. So whilst they might be very equal on the pace, I think Masoom has that just slight bit of edge where he knows when to attack, when to defend. We saw that firsthand in the first race at
So,
Canada.
based on what both Kapil and you have said, I think this more than Hamilton, more than a Vettel comparison. I think this rivalry reminds me a lot of a Hunt versus a Lauda comparison, where both are quite quick. Hunt is more of a go-getter and raw pace. Lauda is very calculated in his and measured in his approach. If you think about it,
Yep, Senna Prost, another
Right.
example of similar
another,
drivers.
yep, certainly agree. Although I think Senna was in a different league, whereas these drivers are far better matched.
I beg to differ, but that's a conversation for
Oh
another
no,
day as we are
I
on
prefer Prost, but five lights eliminate Rusty. Take it away.
your 5 lights away, and turn one's going to be really crucial. Masoom does not get the wheel spin he got last time round. Does well to keep his revs. But Moto Moto again with a brilliant start, just like last race, gets in ahead into turn one. This time the drivers don't come together, and Moto Moto slowly pulling away. Brilliant start by him once again.
I'm expecting to see Moto Moto not taking it. I'm expecting the gentlemen to not be as sporty with each other in this race. It's like the discussion we were having about Bottas not being as aggressive and, let's say, evil in single quotes. Going through this section off camber, very easy to lose it and hit the wall on your left. Flat out right hander, as you can see, sixth gear, making sure you don't go to seventh so you can keep the revs under control. Now this is going to be fun because as Mara switches on the ERS and we can see they're both on 92. That's fantastic ERS management, but I see Moto Moto is used up a little bit more, but it's still fantastic ERS management between the both of them. And as you can see, Masoom is more of that cold, technical, cold, calculated, and technical, and Moto Moto is very fiery. Or was it the other way around, as you guys were saying?
I
I
certain
think
I think it's
that's
the other
the
way
right way,
around.
but okay.
Let-
Interesting, but something I'd like to point out is I think Masoom's given away the lead pretty much every race. Let it be Spa or let it be Canada. He clearly looks like he just wants to keep the pressure up. While Moto Moto is playing chess, Masoom's trying to play 4D chess up here.
Very well put, Rusty.
That should be printed out on a T-shirt.
But
Awesome.
but just to go back to your point, TWP, I think if you look at how these two have driven, I think Moto Moto certainly seems to be a far more uh, technical driver, at least around this circuit, because Sector 3 is extremely technical about hitting the right apexes and all of that. And Moto Moto did seem to pull out about 2.5 tenths in that final sector alone.
Yeah, but I think Masoom made a mistake and he got to go on the curb on the first left-hander before you take the right-hander, the slow curve. And I think that's why he lost that time. Just like how Lewis Hamilton did it during the quali, I think Masoom made a mistake up there. And it'll be interesting to see how he goes around this time round. Breaks a little later, and this time he gets a much better exit through there.
Yup, he gains a tenth through that corner.
Now, I think heading into the next DRS zone, he will have the DRS, so he'll probably gain a 10 over there as well, given the nature that it's a pretty short DRS run up. But Masoom still got 62% ERS, not using a lot of it on his own.
Yup, the gap has stayed just under a second, or Masoom stayed crucially within that DRS zone. How much do you think that's going to come into effect?
I think massively, but then Masoom locked up slightly over there. That gives Moto Moto a 10. These drivers are so neck and neck. I think like the only time you see a driver gaining or losing is when the other driver makes a mistake.
Exactly. I think this, for me, should have been or could have been the finals. But at the same time, we would see a very exciting finals either way.
The gap now down to 6 tenths. It'll be interesting to see how much Masoom gains on this DRS straight. again, a different line this time, similar to what he did in lap 1, and he's lost 4 tenths.
And he's lost DRS, which is, I think, way more crucial than. Oh, and Moto Moto dips into the 116s with that lap. That's a brilliant lap by Moto Moto.
Yep, but Masoom was within the DRS range at the time of detection, so he was able to cut down 2-3 tenths of it during the DRS.
I don't think he was. I don't think he had DRS. I think he just burned a bit of his ERS on that straight.
I'm not sure right now, but given the okay, let's just look for the DRS detection zone this lap. But then again, neck to neck all throughout, it's just coming down to mistakes. I think this is a corner where Moto Moto's been really strong, and now Masoom really needs to try and get back 2 tenths to hold that DRS as they come through the first detection zone. Will have DRS, but not a
Ooh.
very long run up.
I almost thought he, as you were telling us what was happening, I almost thought he lost it through that section, you know? The
Yeah,
car is acting a little jumpy.
Well, if I'm looking at these two drivers, Moto Moto seems to be far better on the brakes than Masoom is. I don't know, because I see less lockups from Moto Moto, and he's able to be far later on the brakes than Masoom is.
Like we talked about when we were talking about Spain, you talked about the nature of the final corners and how if you're perfect through there, you really get to close the gap. And Masoom struggling, but then again, no DRS this time as well. I agree with what you said last time round, but he still cut down 3 tenths on the straight. Not quite sure what's happening there.
Could he just be running lower aero?
Possibly. Can we check Moto Moto's ERS?
Masoom
Yeah.
did burn a lot on that straight, so I think that could be another factor.
Absolutely. Masoom must be kicking himself for how he's been going through the final sector. Lap 2, he did nail it, and you saw that he almost cut the gap, I think by 3 tenths or 4 tenths.
Yeah, certainly. This race has been uncharacteristic of Masoom, and he won't mind me saying so. He loves constructive criticism. I think he made far too many mistakes to beat a driver like Moto Moto in Spain. But that being said, it is just about a second. I'm making it seem like a big gap, but it's just about a second after 5 laps of fighting, so it's not really that bad.
Absolutely. As we come around, Moto Moto still has 40% DRS. He's really not thinking too much about what's happening around, and brilliant raceman. I think a very technically sound drive around Spain, which is pretty technical.
I agree with you, and completely unbeatable at Spain right now is Moto Moto.
You know what song is playing in my head right now?
Ladies and gentlemen, they have matched their fastest lap down to 1,000th of a second. What a drive from both
1
of
and
them.
910.
901 by both of them, actually. The third race we go to is in Bahrain, and this is Masoom. I think Masoom likes this track, but I believe so does Moto Moto.
Yep. And you know what song's playing in my head right now?
Nope. Do enlighten us.
I like him big. I like him chunky. I like him big.
Okay, it's a more
something. Is that Madagascar Moto Moto song?
Yep. Yeah, I think that would be. I have no response to that. I'm literally speechless. I don't know how to respond to that.
So there was a conspiracy theory going around in the discussion room that Maso threw away the second race in protest of that stewards inquiry.
Whoa!
I have no words to say on that. What do you guys have to say about that?
There's some insane bromance brewing among the two gentlemen, if that would be the scene. And
It definitely looks to be the case in chat. They're all like tripping balls right now, so very well might be the case.
like I would like to do a slow-mo capture of Masoom and Moto Moto's car coming through the start-finish race, and the song behind. La 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 la.
But
la, la, la,
I think that
la,
advantage is over.
Moto Moto gets this time round, gets the slipstream wheel to wheel, has the lead into turn 1. I think something that separating these two drivers clearly for sure is Moto Moto's race starts.
Yeah, I think even in Zandvoort, where he started in a couple of positions behind me. I think he was started P3 or P4, and he was fighting me for the lead in into turn two, which really showed that he was rapid off the starts. I think he's one of the best in the server when it comes to getting off the line.
That's actually a very interesting insight, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is. Whether it's affecting it's a good insight or not, it definitely is working in his favor right now.
No audio stream. Can you please have a look at that, please?
Sorry.
There's no stream audio right now.
Yeah, we usually stream audio as in on YouTube.
Yes.
The OBS is showing significant audio. Couple.
Maybe it's just the game audio. Can you just unpause a bit?
I am not. The game audio is turned on for me. Is our voices coming through?
Let me just check. I'll be back in a sec.
Take your time. Take your time. Take your time.
But in the meanwhile, Moto Moto is 9/10 ahead through lap 1, and this track, even though it's got a significant number of straights, Dirty Ed does play a big factor. Rusty, what do you think? Well, I mean, based on the league race that you saw, I didn't take part in it for too long. I think I had an incident, but I think Dirty Ed does play a huge part in this track. What do you think?
30 does play a part, but then again, the nature of the final, the back straight and the main straight, I think it allows cars to come back on the car in front and get the move done.
Yeah. But staying within the DRS, I found, is tricky, and I think that becomes a very crucial point. But once again, Moto pulled out a 10th in that braking zone, so Masoom really needs to focus on not locking up, because in the last two corners, he's pulled out a 10th in the braking zone alone.
As we head, I think Masoom, if he's got ERS left, I think he should be burning it to try and get within the second, because I think if he doesn't get into the second right now, into the DRS zone, I think it'll be really hard for him to mount up a challenge.
Yep, I completely agree with you. And as we see that he runs wide, Fivezan confirms. Thank you so much, Fivezan. Everything is fine on the stream. But as we said, the Alpha Tauri is, I know it's not the detection zone yet, but just about out of DRS. That being said, Masoom may get it for the second DRS zone, which is the run up to turn 4 or turn 3, sorry. So Masoom does get DRS on the second DRS zone, so crucially so. But how much DRS has he burned in order to do that?
Not. I think 40% still a good amount to have heading into the final 3 corners. I mean, final 3 laps.
Yep. And Moto Moto responds. Go ahead.
I think we lost Rusty. So yeah, as you were saying, I think what he was saying is, as you were saying, Moto responds, and now he's building that gap or trying to keep that gap consistent to Masoom, and we're entering almost the end of lap 3, going through this section. This is the part that I was talking about, quite reminiscent, like the 9-10 of Bahrain is quite reminiscent of that Kota section. Very fantastic section. Entering through sector 3, here again, touch the apex on the right, and you're going to spin out. Masoom's really not able to catch up to Moto Moto. What do you think? Here, is it that we're seeing Masoom's racecraft falling short, Mara?
No, I just think that Masoom did have a couple of bad laps, and it forced him to start thinking too much about his ERS, whereas Moto Moto did burn a significant amount of ERS in that last lap. So he went from 50% to 36 in that last lap. So I think that Moto is responding from an ERS perspective as well, to make sure that he doesn't get caught out and let Masoom conserve his ERS by getting the drag benefit.
Gotcha. So far so good. Entering through, I really like this section. It's very characteristic of Herman Tilke's ability to create tracks that are characteristically new, but at the same time inspired by other tracks. Going through this section, I think I'm not sure. I don't want to again put a curse on anyone, but commentators curse on anyone. But I feel like Masoom may be struggling with his tires. I have a feeling, but I'm not sure. If we're on lap 4 on these softs, they're not loaded up on fuel as much, so it shouldn't be that aggressive on their tires as well. But from the way that his car seems to be controlling through some sections, he's braking a little earlier, and as you can see, going a little wide. But at the same time, he's not understeering either. So I just have a feeling that at this point of time, it is a matter of fatigue and at the same time racecraft as well.
Yep. I think Masoom is a bit downbeat right now. Considering he's not within DRS and Moto Moto's been fast, and Moto Moto isn't fast that much faster over lap, but he's faster in some crucial sections off the track, which is setting him up very well to maintain that gap to Masoom.
Yep, absolutely. Moto Moto
Yeah.
has been really smart about where he pushes on this track, and that's setting Masoom back by quite a lot. Now the gap up to 2 seconds.
So far, what do you think, Moto? Rusty, we missed you for 2 seconds over there. We were just speculating that could it be fatigue, could it be racecraft, could it be tires? I mean, we have a good glimpse of the tires there. What do you think's hampering Moto's racecraft right now? I mean, sorry, Masoom's racecraft.
I think it's really hard to say based off the data we have, but I think again Moto Moto has been so consistent. I'd love to see the race director for the lap times after the race to see how consistent Moto Moto has been with his pace.
Yep, and as we say that this race seems to be done and dusted because Masoom is out of ERS, and more importantly, out of laps. And as we say that Moto Moto comes through with 2.7 seconds out of Masoom, so that's a very clear win for the AlphaTauri driver.
I'm glad this time Moto didn't get a time penalty.
Well, game on, folks. It's 1-all. Oh, sorry, it's 2-1 to 2-1 to Moto Moto now.
Moto Moto moves forward, yeah.
And unlike Spain, where we saw the drivers match each other's lap times on terms of fastest lap, Moto Moto is significantly quicker by over 8 tenths
Can
of
we
a
see Moto Moto's lap time, individual lap times?
Certainly.
Yep. So interesting. His third lap was a massive push lap, I think, and then he did a cool down and then pushed again.
I do a lot of unranked with Moto Moto, and he does save ERS to go for that fastest lap at the end typically. So I think that's exactly what you're seeing here, folks. I think Moto Moto is very, very good on his ERS conservation and certainly showed that he is more than capable to put in fastest laps at the end of the stint.
Absolutely.
But
But then again,
2-1
brilliant showing by Masoom.
Yep, that's 2-1.
Yeah.
It's a best of 3, so 2-1. Moto Moto does take it and that just shows what a great driver he is. Despite the earlier disappointment, he's come back with the win and won the next 2 races to make it through to the finals, where he will face the winner of BaBa.G versus Stani whose session I am just joining.
Marak, if you can also go ahead and increase your game audio maybe by 2 clicks, that would be much appreciated.
Sure, I'm just trying to not make sure that audio of the lovely voices of TWP and Rusty are drowned out. But sure, I can increase it by a bit.
So how many of us, as we wait to jump on the next race, and I'm pretty sure how a lot of the audience members must have had dinner by now. Just wanted to check, Mara, if you're still got your nachos bowl or is that done?
Oh, that that finished a long time ago. So has my beer, so I'll be right back, folks.
So there was a very interesting story. So BaBa.G versus Stani was supposed to be the first semi-final, but it got postponed to the second one because both contestants wanted to have their dinner. So we postponed it just so that they would be empty and content and ready to go for their semi-final. True story. Anyways, the race is beginning. Lights are out. Yeah, Danny's gone. Is that too much for you? So okay, Tani, the race has begun. Please let me commentate while we wait for Maverick to
I'm back.
return.
I'm
Tani
back.
has kept his lead into turn 2 and 3.
Couple's gone. Where did
Yeah.
couple go?
Either way, I think Rusty take off from where Couple left.
Yeah, but you'll need to
To
share the
stream it.
race.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I think. Oh, so sorry. We missed the commentary, folks. But Baba does stay behind Tani since Tani started in P1 anyway. But Baba's not looking too much of a slouch. He's within 2 tenths, going through the dirtiest section of the track. When I say dirtiest, I mean in terms of air. And going through the final 2 corners, the car is completely loaded over here. And Baba still stays within the 310. So do you think we'll see an overtake before the DRS opens? TWP.
I doubt it. Very unlikely. This
I disagree. I think Baba is showing a lot of pace, especially given how close he was able to stay through the final sector. And I think like either towards the start of lap 3 or towards the end of the first DRS zone, he should get the move done.
interesting.
It's Red Bull
But
versus
then
Renault,
again,
folks. A Beat Bull versus Honor. Once again.
A bit
I
of
can't
bull.
wait for the tattoo to come out.
What do you think the tattoo is going to be? I just
I
hope
think-
it's a McLaren logo or something. something like that.
No, I don't think Ricardo will go down that lane, but I do have a strong feeling that it's going to be a honey badger of some sorts.
That's him going easy on a bit of bull. It should be the internet name that everyone calls Cyril a bit of bullshit. That's what it should. Cyril a bit of bullshit should be the tattoo that he gets.
Well, I don't think Ricardo's going to do that to his team principal, but if he does, I wouldn't be disappointed, I'll be honest. But Baba has
Coming back
DRS.
to the race,
Baba has DRS going into turn 3. It's actually turn 3, but it's actually what all of us consider turn 2. And he's right on his tail. He is literally within a tenth on the exit. Will Baba get the move done? He's hunting for that inside line. Then he covers it up for the
Yes.
most part, but can't really
He's
cover it
got
up.
so much ARS on his plate, it's ridiculous. And he's got the move done as well.
absolutely, Baba never went on the ERS. He never hit the ERS button. Even the straight leading up to lap 1, the start-finish straight, he did not use ERS. He just stayed within content, and I think he just about attacked at the right place because Tani used up a lot of his ERS, as we can
Yeah.
see there.
Let me actually give you a bit of insight into how Baba and I practice together for our sessions since we are teammates. So we keep on talking about lap times and tires, and he'll come back to me, oh, but I forgot to use ERS. In the middle of a practice session. I'm just like, dude, that's not giving me any help about your times then. He said, yeah, I forgot. I think he's done the same here, or at least for the first couple of laps, because he did burn 20% ERS in that last lap, but for the first lap or two, he was very, very high on it.
Is he coming off ERS assist?
No, he is completely off assists. Driving
Yeah, but
assists.
2020 it doesn't matter. He was going to push a button, unlike 2019. But Tani is pushing back now, DRS, but I think he oversteers a little onto that corner, gets a bit of gravel.
Well, let's see how much Baba can pull out in sector 2, because sector 1, where Baba overtook, was all going to be straight, so Tani could stick behind in DRS, but Baba seems to have pulled out 4 tenths in this sector 2 alone.
Yeah, he's really pushing to get out of that DRS zone. And looks like he's got the
Oh,
job
that's
done.
a beautiful camera view. I absolutely love that curved
Tani-
camera view.
Yeah.
Tani no more has DRS, and now this is going to be really hard. It's be an uphill climb. I think the only way Tani is getting back at this is if Baba makes a mistake.
Well, I'll be honest, Baba's a very talented driver, but he doesn't practice too much. He's more all natural. If I would
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So, but that lack of practice does leave him susceptible to a few minor errors. Still very consistent, still very experienced, but if you notice that he's kind of backed off over here, he's just trying to get the car to the end. He's not burning his ERS too much. He's not taking too aggressive lines or lines which are too aggressive, and he's just trying to get the car to the end while staying ahead. I mean, it just shows where experience matters.
Yep, interesting. But then again, I think he's figured it out that through that sector of the track towards the end of sector 2, he's really strong and he's pulled away pretty much every lap. And I think he just didn't want to push and risk a penalty, which I think I agree with what BaBa tried to do there. No reason to push unnecessarily.
That's what I mean. Why increase the risk factor there?
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yep.
Because I think at that point of time, he knows it's a final lap. The only place you can overtake is towards the end of the start finish straight, or ideally the second straight, and that's out of the equation now, given where the start finish line comes around Austria. Yep. So no reason to push.
So, Kapil, why don't you give us a bit of insight? In the semi-finals, I believe the coordinators choose a track and each of the drivers choose a track. Do we know whose choice Austria was? We seem to have lost Kapil. He makes his cameo appearances exactly when we don't expect, but never mind. I'm just joking, of course. But yeah, I'd love to get some insight into who's chosen which tracks, because they'll probably give us a bit of more knowledge as to how the championship is going to proceed or progress. What do you think, guys? Hello? Rusty, can you hear me? Black Sheep, why don't you take over for in the interim till the other two get back? Yep. It seems to be that the other two commentators have ditched me, but I can take over for a while. BaBa, the next race takes us to the glorious land of Suzuka, where BaBa gets a terrible start. He gets a terrible start going into the first of the spoon curves into turn 1. And Tani once again leads the pack through the beautiful S section that is sector 1 of Japan. Rusty tells me that he can't hear me in Discord. Why don't you stay tuned, folks? Enjoy the action. I will just try and reset. Just give me 1 second.
Yep, we can hear you now, Mara.
Okay.
Not quite sure what happened there, but yeah.
Hi, boys.
I thought my laptop conked off, so I restarted.
Yeah. Interestingly, you and I left this chat at the same time to rejoin, but yeah, that's how it is. But BaBa.G caught on the tail of Tani once again for the second race in a row, cutting the gap considerably through there. Now on the exit of Spoon, it'll be interesting to see what kind of an exit both of these drivers get. Very similar lines over there, and now he will get a bit of that slipstream before they head into 130R. The famous 130R.
I love that corner, dude.
Now just a bendy straight, but back in the day it used to be
bendy straight.
I'm so glad they removed the bump at the exit of the Casio triangle, which didn't make any sense. I mean, drivers just... There was a huge bump in the previous editions of the game. They have removed it here, so it's far easier to stay on the throttle for the final straight.
Absolutely. Tani with a brilliant run through turn 1.
Ooh, BaBa had some time to correct his car a bit. Nearly lost it.
Indeed, but through this section, BaBa looks really planted. And given the dirty air, he's not losing a lot of time to Tani up ahead. Heading into the hairpin where BaBa gained quite a lot of time last time around. It'll be interesting to see how he does now. Loses time though this time around. Tani with the brilliant exit out there. Now the gap up to 4/10s, but BaBa
such amazing fixed camera angles, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I think this is such an underrated track because it may not be the best for overtaking, but As a driver, it's honestly one of the nicest tracks in the world. I think even Sebastian Vettel finds Suzuka to be his favorite track, I think, if I'm not wrong.
I think quite a few drivers do. They have it high up their list, and this year we're fortunate enough to see a bunch of driver favorite tracks like we did see in Mugello and now in Portimao. But now with DRS, I think BaBa.G holds a much better chance. Has been saving up on the ERS even though he didn't spend some the last lap. Danny's got 38% and Baba's got pretty much twice the amount.
Ooh, interesting.
The famous Suzuka S's as we go through.
Why do you? Where would you? Oh,
Baba was right there.
What a brilliant bit of control by BaBa.G to just keep his car pointing in the right direction.
yeah, it's very easy over there to like get greedy on the throttle, trying to get back on track very early. But I think Baba completely took his foot off throttle and used the momentum of his car to get out of the gravel.
Yep, I think similar to what Russell did in Mugello, if you think about it.
Yeah. Interesting. Very. It just goes to show how focused Baba is on his time right now. And if you've noticed, he's actually built the gap back again. It was a 1.3, I think.
1.1 and he's now 3/10. He's cut off 3/10 in the second sector.
Superb. That just goes to
And
show
a
again. Like,
faster second sector to boot, so he really does know when to respond, but he's burned a lot of his ERS to try and get back in that window.
Yeah, absolutely trying to get back into the DRS range. He burnt up quite a lot of DRS, and now I think he's going to try and cut down not too much this lap and keep it up until the final lap to try and get the overtake done.
Don't forget, like the overtake here, the slipstream through 130R is actually very powerful considering it's slightly uphill. So drivers can actually make an overtake if they get a good exit from Spoon.
Absolutely agree with you. And that's quite a long straight, even though you've got a couple of things here and there. Like from the exit of Spoon to until the Casio Triangle, you're pretty much full throttle.
Rusty, how's this for a petition to FIA? Why not make 130R the entire straight from Spoon till the braking zone of 130R a DRS zone? Because if DRS was activated there, I'm not sure if drivers would be able to go flat out. Do you think they will?
I don't think so because you lose a considerable amount of downforce.
But at the same
So,
time, you
I'm
are going
not
slightly
sure.
uphill, right? So you get a bit of that grip back. I'm not going to say down. Yeah.
bit of that gravity acting for you over there.
Yep. But talking about 130R, the two drivers are coming through here for the second last time. Will Baba get close enough to make a move into turn 1? I don't think so just yet, but he takes a narrow line, gets a very good exit. He has ERS to play with, whereas Tani is out of ERS. So Baba's on the overtake button. He's going to the outside, but he's switched to the inside.
Ooh,
And he gets
lovely
the
overtake.
Dummy over there. Stole the dummy and now he's on the
Lovely.
inside line. Brilliant through there and now through there. It's just very interesting to see how Tani does now behind
It
the
was a
car.
fantastic overtake by
Well,
Baba.
normally in league races, Baba takes Ocon's car and I take Ricardo's. But I think we need to swap it up because that was a traditional Daniel Ricciardo overtake.
But he's gonna struggle on DRS. Can we see the Tani's DRS, please? Ooh, close.
Just
Not too
about
far
the
away.
same. I mean, Tani's. But I think unless Tani can recover a little bit more, they both will be out of ERS halfway through the straight.
Yeah. By the time Tani comes wheel to wheel with him, he's gonna be out of that extra ERS anyway. So
Tani has recovered quite a bit when compared to Baba at least. But then again, like all the way from here, you're full throttle. So the game itself, unlike the previous editions, you can't switch off ERS. The game has its own ERS mapped, and I think that's going to hurt Tani a little bit as he's now chasing BaBa.G. Will try to make a late move headed over here, but I think he's just a little far away. Baba cuts off the inside line, knows it's all about the overtake. Can Tani get
Ooh,
the
aggressive.
switch back?
Nice and
Baba
aggressive.
loses
by
the back
Tani.
end a bit. Tani down the inside.
Wheel to wheel. Oh, fantastic race. This was a good race.
I think
That
that gap
was
was
so
about
close.
2/100ths of a second. Wow, that
that
was a
was
tremendous race.
fabulous. Yeah, brilliant by Tani at the end. But boy, oh boy, that was 200ths of a second. Two
Less than two
hundredths.
hundredths of a second. What a drive from both of them. But that actually secures, we won't even have to go to a third race because that secures BaBa.G's position in the finals, where he will race Moto Moto for the pace off title.
Ooh, that was super close. But BaBa.G, you've got to give credit to him. He's recovered his rear end twice, especially at the
Yeah.
end of SS. I think like it also helps that in 2020 the counter steer is much better than say the 2019, where it's very hard to recover. But BaBa.G absolutely tuned in and saves the car twice.
Fantastic race. We were on the edge of our seats the entire time. It was scintillating stuff there.
This is exactly the kind of racing that we wanted when we thought of or planned to do something this weekend. And I think, BaBa.G and Tani, if there are no other good races, if the next race is 20 seconds apart, I don't care. This race has given me enough entertainment for one day.
Absolutely.
Oh, we'll see two photo finishes today.
Yeah, I think this. Are you talking about Masoom and
Yeah, Master
and Moto?
At least on track, it was photo finish.
Yep. Couple, is BaBa.G going to get a break before the finals, or are we going to start immediately?
I don't know. Let me get back to you on that. We might give him, but look, seeing how pumped up is, I think let's just keep the show going
Yeah.
on.
Agreed.
I think
Let's
if
give
I
him
were
that
BaBa.G,
advantage.
I wouldn't want to break. I just like to take the momentum into the next few races.
Well, I'll get back to you on that. Let's see what he has to say.
Yep. So another question that I asked. I think that I wasn't available to talk to the drivers during the event, but okay, he seemed to be removed.
Gone? Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to drag couple back. So couple, just a moment in commentary. We needed some information from you. Um, wasn't able to talk to the drivers at all, but what I think in the semifinals and the finals, the coordinators chose one track while the drivers chose the rest. Interesting to know which one was BaBa.G's choice and which one was Tani's choice.
Uh, to be honest, we did not go ahead with that approach in the end.
Ah,
We just picked out all of them.
so you heard it here first. Here heard it here. Oh, wait, what am I saying?
Moving on.
It's the beer. It's
Well,
the
we
beer.
are
It's
first,
not me.
yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. India is not a democracy any longer, and we plan to keep it that way. I'm just joking, of course.
Yep.
Uh,
We're giving both of them a 5-minute break. So yeah.
sure. In the meanwhile, what should you like to do, TWP?
I think what we should do is we should play. I don't know. You caught me. You caught me quite off.
How about drive around Kota, which we spoke about earlier?
Yeah, let's do that.
Awesome, let's do it. I apologize for your Sebastian in the background. He's excited by all the racing as well. So let's see. Let's just drive through Kota and see what kind of track it really is till the other boys get back. I'm just gonna pick out any.
There, like
Sorry.
Maranello, like your setups on 2019 are just like brilliant. I don't know what you've done.
I copied the setup from a lot of other brilliant individuals who've made the effort.
Interesting, because I copy all of your setups and they're just brilliant. But now, yeah, do you want to talk us through this?
TWP, why don't you talk us through Kota?
Sure. So what you usually want to do here is know what your breaking point is, because you can't really guess this. You've got to know your breaking point and know whether you're defending, attacking, doing a hot lap, in lap, out lap, and then that then pretty much sets up. So at this point of time is when you have to be in the right position to approach these S's. Slowing down over here, shooting up through here, downshifting, letting the engine brake your car, not throttling too hard, then slamming on the accelerator. Again, this is like where you brake just before the 50-meter board and line up through 11 through to end of 11 through 12. It's almost like one swift rotation of the car. And as you saw Mara do that 5th, 6th, 7th gear, and now he's on 8th. You see he's gonna brake, let the engine brake the car a little bit, downshift all the way to second. Wow, fantastic. I thought he was gonna stick on third, down to second, and then takes this section. So this is what I was telling. Tilke likes to make his tracks like similar. This is like the Bahrain 9 and 10 almost for me, very similar to the Bahrain 9 and 10. As you come out, Istanbul Park's 8 flat out almost. Now, if you're playing on automatic gears, that is assisted gears, your car's automatically going to take it through 7 and 8. That means you can't take it flat out through that entire fast swinging section. So what you've got to usually, Mara, if you could just slow down, what you've got to usually do through that section is make sure your gear is on 6th. Now, if you could show us, Mara, how do you do a cool down lap in Kota? Now, you showed us a fast lap. What would you do to do a cool down lap? What are the differences you would do?
So let's say in lap 1 I really pushed, alright. So through this section where I would be flat out in some corners, I'd take narrower lines, so I'll reduce the track distance. But that'll also mean I'll have to drive a bit slower to achieve the same lap time. So I'll take narrower lines here, which I couldn't take at higher speeds and put as much load on the tires. But into this braking zone, I would lift just before the braking zone and not use this complete. And I would probably not, where I would use 51% brake bias in the race, I would use 50% just to cool down the front tires a little bit. So just before I brake, I would probably lift off that tad bit and then trail brake far earlier. So let the kind of have the car in limbo state, and I strongly recommend against this for most drivers, where I always say it should be directly from brakes to throttle, but very often you need to let the car glide, and that is exactly what helps the tires be in better shape, especially in race trim.
Understood.
And also helps you maintain consistency with line, and that never hurts.
What do you think Kimi did differently in 2018 that got him to win the race?
Well, I'll just show you what he did. In fact, let me, in spirit of that, let me do that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that the move in 2018 when Ballast was there and the cars were much more fun to drive. We certainly saw a lot of emphasis on what do you call it? On just mechanical rotation rather than aero rotation, right?
Okay.
And the Ferrari itself was very good in that respect, because we noticed that they tried a lot of rubbish with the aero, but their chassis was so strong it really helped them. And I think the chassis is what really helps tire wear around the circuit, especially. So yeah, I think that definitely, and around the strat being what it is, and the tire wear on the strat, and Ferrari's engine in 2018, not to mention his brilliant start. I think there are a number of factors why Kimi won that race. What do you think? Why do you think Kimi won the race? TWP? Rusty, are you here? I seem to have lost my fellow commentators once again.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me, couple?
I can. Yeah, we can.
Yep. We were just going through Kota, and I seem to have lost Rusty and TWP once again. So, what do you think of Kota as a track, couple? I know that may not be your favorite track in the calendar, but what do you think of it?
Our commentators are waiting for your response, but I think he's zoned out so much that he can only hear other racing drivers right now. I'm not sure.
Wait, can you hear me, couple?
I can hear you, Mara.
Okay.
I can't speak too much, honestly. I mean, I did a fantastic performance, so let's just leave it at that. Anyways, Mara,
the lobby seems to be up, folks. We are almost ready to go for the finals of.
Mara, if you can just take a break and let's just sort out this technical difficulty before we get on to the main event.
Before it gets any more humorous.
Okay,
Yes.
wait. What is happening? I can hear TWP now and Rusty. What is happening?
What's happening? We were talking to you.
Oh my god.
I think Discord just decided to pull out a code masters on us. It just did something weird we didn't expect.
Discord
Yep,
did a
definitely.
code.
This is certainly. I'm not
Discord
able
is-
to
Yeah, before
access
we get
Steam.
started, Mara, can you just have a look at the chat in Discord group to get some information?
Yep.
Sure. Let's see what we have here, folks.
So I'm on just a quick input off topic but F1 related. I'm on F1 right now and I see a Will Buxton tweet where he says Rogro opening up about what the problems at Haas are. So if anyone's interested to hear what Rogro has to say now that he doesn't have a contract, check it out.
Yep.
Oh,
Who is
interesting.
Rogro?
Grosjean.
Roman Grosjean.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
You sounded like that Dexter episode, Omelette du fromage.
That is my favorite extra episode, by the way.
Oh, dude, that episode is dope.
Yep. Certainly.
Omelette du fromage. And then finally he comes home. All right, what's your password? Omelette du fromage. Denied. Omelette
Yep.
du fromage.
So, couple, what are the 5 tracks here for the finals? Couple always seems to go at exactly
he's
the
not in
wrong
the
time.
chat anymore.
Yeah, he always seems to go at the wrong time.
So he wants you to. Casey wants you to check out the contributors. Deck.
Yeah, no, I got the image. I got the image. Don't worry. Yeah.
So again, like any bets, anyone? Have we?
Nope. The moment you say bet, that next guy is gonna crash.
I think that it's definitely going to be difficult for BaBa.G because we know how quick Moto Moto is, but we can always hope for a bit of fun, can't we?
Yeah, while Moto Moto's been better, at least from the head-to-heads in Tier 1 races, I think BaBa.G's been on a steep upward curve from when he's gotten his wheel fixed and everything. So I think the gap's closer than it has ever been, and I think we will be seeing that on track.
Yep. In fact, let me switch to the game now because we're about to start.
Is it a best of 3?
It's a best of 5.
5.
So we going Wimbledon style.
Completely. From
Gonna be
a minor to a major.
I wonder if Baba has had another meal before this one. I think that was the additional break those guys took, Tani and Baba. That was
Yeah.
probably the reason for that performance.
Yeah, as we say that the drivers are doing their setup in Bahrain, which is quite an awesome track. But we all know Moto Moto is incredibly strong around Bahrain. So, Black Sheep, could you do some research and figure out which are the 5 tracks we have planned for today?
Yeah,
sure.
Well, Black Sheep, there it'll be interesting. If Baba were to win, the first question I would ask him would be BaBa.G what the dinner of champions?
Porridge for dinner.
Porridge.
Well, this is the Indian racing community, so I'd say
Upma. Upma, yeah.
Dalia.
Yeah.
Dalia.
Yeah.
So, if I'm not mistaken, the 5 tracks are Bahrain, Spa, Italy, Brazil, and Austria. In
But
that order,
Rusty, I'm
as-
going to interrupt you because we are heading up to turn 1 right now, where Moto Moto has once again had a very good start.
Telemetry, please.
Yes, and Baba nearly loses it, but stays just about straight. And I guess we're off, folks, for the finals. And Moto Moto leads us into turn 3. Go ahead, Rusty.
cool.
Sorry.
But we'll go there in a bit. But something I'd like to, I don't know, because you know BaBa.G better. Do you think he likes this setup? Because it feels like his rear's been pretty twitchy. Even in Japan, he lost his rear twice. And even over here, I thought out of turn 2, his rear was pretty twitchy. Or do you think he's just being overeager on the throttle?
Well, to quote BaBa.G, he said, "I don't give a shit what my setup is. Just give me a setup. I'll adapt to it."
So I've done quite a bit of practice with Baba and Mara myself in the Tier 1 League races so far. And one thing I've picked up about Baba is that he always likes to go one step over Steery compared to myself and even Mara sometimes. Which is why I'm not really surprised that he was much closer to Moto in the second sector, sort of falling back again in the last sector now.
Yep.
Interesting take, but now Moto Moto's about 6 tenths off. I think that's where they will be heading into the start-finish straight at the end of lap 1. BaBa.G just needs to stay within 1 second, I think, heading into the third lap, and then he can start planning his overtake.
Yep. But we all know how strong Moto Moto is. In fact, he hasn't burned any ERS through that turn 1. He's probably saving it for a blistering fastest lap at the end. But that being said, BaBa does seem to be forced to burn it a little bit. But I'm not sure how much is going to come into the equation. What do you think, Rusty?
I think like you talked about
Rusty, you seem to be breaking up.
Rusty, you seem to be breaking up a little bit.
TWP, what until Rusty's network?
I think Rusty needs to finish that sentence.
I think I'm just gonna go ahead and mute Rusty for a quick
Mute him.
second.
Yeah.
Rusty, so what do you think? Sorry, TWP, what do you think about this race so far? How's it going?
It's going. I'm not going to say anything as of right now. I think you know that Bahrain is my favorite track. Because the thing with Bahrain is Sector 3 is so precarious for drivers. You get on the apex, if you're in front, you'll spin out and lose it. But so far, I think what's happening is it was really unexpected to see BaBa.G in the finals again, not to put down the driver or anything like that. I was expecting it to be notsomahsoom battling it out. Anyways, coming back to this one, I think what is going to happen is BaBa.G is going to pounce on Moto late race and beat Moto in maybe lap 4 or lap 5. I think that's what BaBa.G is aiming for. And
Yep.
looking at Baba's track record for having late race speed, I see that happening very much so. That I see him at the end of the turn 10 straight. I see Baba taking the overtake on Moto.
Completely
in the
agree
next
with you,
lap.
but if you look at it right now, Baba's at 60% ERS, whereas Moto is at 100%. He hasn't used
Correct.
any ERS this race so far. So, is he planning to just blast away in the last few laps? Is he trying to give us a
Yeah.
good show?
I think Moto knows that Baba's going to pounce on him. That's why he's saving his ERS.
Yep. Rusty, are you back? Can you?
Is it better now?
Much better.
Much.
Sorry about that earlier.
No, I'm sorry. I think that was an issue on my end. But what did I miss? How did BaBa.G cut down that gap?
Well, BaBa.G seems to be at 55% ERS, whereas Moto Moto was at 100% until half a lap ago. So, Moto really isn't burning ERS, but that being said, he may regret that decision very soon, because if Baba can get ahead now, I take that back. Moto's burning it all right now.
Yeah,
Baba's burning it all this time around.
Yeah.
Yep.
The ERS has more or less leveled up. Okay, somebody's watching my stream on speaker. I love my voice,
I think
but
third world.
I love my voice,
That would
but
be-
not
that
that
would
much. I'm joking, of course. But BaBa.G keeping it close within a second.
He lost his rear again over there.
I just think
And-
oh wow, he completely
just
drifted through
completely
that.
sliding into
Damn.
that corner. That's the more Visteria setup I think that I was mentioning about.
Yeah,
So do you
and
think Baba? Sorry to interrupt you. Do you think Baba right now is on a more compromised setup?
I wouldn't call
I
it
would call it
compromise.
I think it's just what suits him better, isn't it?
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I was trying to say that he actually gained time by drifting the car through that one corner. May not be good for his tires, but it worked out for his lap time.
Did a Nelson Piquet there, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly.
Now the ERS is really close, and I think Baba has a much better chance now. That push lap by him really pushed Moto Moto to use up that ERS, and Baba hasn't lost a lot, interestingly.
Yep. Once again, this is another race where we are kept at the edge of our seats while Baba picks up a 2-second penalty.
Seconds.
Oh my god.
That's going to be super costly for him.
Yep. But let's see if he can at least do this on track, not on penalties.
these drivers really pushing.
BaBa going rallycross. I think he's been playing a lot of drift rally, and that's really helping him here because he's gaining time on these corners where he's losing it. This is I drive this game quite a bit, and I can't comprehend what he's doing right now. How do you think he's doing it, Black Sheep?
I have no idea. It'd be interesting to see what ERS level motor is on, because I think first sector of this lap,
I think he's on 20,
out all of
20-ish.
it.
Oh, 20-ish%.
He's on 50%.
Oh, 47.
Yeah, 50. Yeah, there you go. That explains it.
No, but I just mean through sector 2 where both drivers weren't burning ERS. When BaBa drifted his car, he actually gained time on Moto Moto. I don't know how a lack of grip can do that, but BaBa is something special. That ERS hits the 0 mark, which...
And I think Moto Moto is pushing for another fastest lap. No,
as we say that,
not burning that ERS.
But that being said, Moto Moto wins race 1 and the game is waving a white flag instead of a checkered flag, which is awesome.
Why is that awesome?
I'm joking, of course. But yeah,
Peace.
we surrender to you, Codemasters. We surrender.
We surrender. We give in to Cody's.
Yeah, certainly.
The best lap time super close. I think like a 100.5. That's about it, separating the both of their best lap times as we head into Spa up next.
Spa is one track we know Moto Moto is very strong at. So, I mean, as we saw with Masoom, or was it Masoom we saw it with?
Yeah, we saw Masoom at Spa. We did.
Yep. I think Moto. I've personally raced Moto Moto at Spa, and it's. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how he's so quick. He's incredibly tough to beat him.
As I'm pretty sure the drivers are heading up. The drivers are, one of the spectator has to select spectator option.
If not, Harry's gonna be in the race. Let's see. Maybe this is Harry's sneaky way of joining the finals. Is it turning into a three-way, guys? What are your predictions?
It'll be very interesting. But Harry is on the VC with other Edmonds. 3.
Oh, I think
Oh,
the lobby's
you
being
want left?
restarted. The lobby's being restarted. In the meanwhile, let me just move back to the still, and we can chat over this. So, Spa, how do you think? Do you think lap 1 will matter at all here? Because in Bahrain, in Canada, and a lot of other tracks it does. Do you think lap 1 really matters here? Who gets well off the line? Or
I think it helps. It always helps to be the car in front, not have to worry about the car in front of you and just try to. Because at the end of the day, you're best when you're trying to be your own fastest. There's no point trying to be faster than another guy. The best chance you hold is when you're as fast as you can be. And I think you're aided to do that when you're P1.
I disagree. I think Spa is one of the few circuits where P2 has the. I was actually going. My next question was going to be: do you think it's better to be P2 at turn 1 rather than just having the lead? Do you think drivers
I'd
are going to
still
actually?
like to. Yeah. At least for me, I think I'd always prefer to go ahead and then try to pull away rather than try to stay close to the car behind.
Yeah. Completely agree with you. Yeah.
Interesting, but then again, like we know that both of these guys have spent a lot of time, and I'm pretty sure they're planning and plotting, and they're definitely going to give it their all.
Yep, certainly.
But I'm pretty sure BaBa must be slightly, at least mentally fatigued, given
Hello,
how
boys.
close his battle with Tani was.
I'm sorry to cut you off again.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lobby glitch, as you may have heard already. And yeah, BaBa needs to restart his game because he can't accept any invites, so we'll just wait for him.
Yep, no rush. We can wait. We have all the time in the world especially for pace-off.
So we are in the championship battle. We are not quite yet at the championship rounds, but I do hope that we see all 5 races
Yep, I agree with you.
go down right to the wire.
Sorry, folks, I'm just quickly managing something for you guys. So you would see the wrong thumbnail for a quick second. Just give me a minute.
I find this thumbnail really hilarious. I'm just thinking like, did they do this knowing that you were driving a Renault and you're statistically the favorite to be up there, or was it just a coincidence?
I have no say in the matter. I do not know, but I'm lucky to have this worked out for me so many times to have the Renault image on top. I'm just a bit lucky
Yeah.
in that respect, but yeah, I mean, it's a happy accident, I guess. By the way, which is your favorite looking car in the game this year? I mean, there are a lot of good looking cars around. I know the Ferrari doesn't sound all that good, but in terms of just pure aesthetic ability, which car do you feel stands out above the others?
So we talked about this in Bahrain. I'm not sure in which one, but the Mercedes, the black Mercedes in Bahrain looks amazing. Like you need under the lights as well, but the Mercedes in Bahrain looks phenomenal in my opinion. Similarly, like I feel like the McLaren just pops out and looks a lot better in rain. If you've ever seen the McLaren in a wet Singapore session, it just looks a whole different car.
Well,
Yep.
we're probably thinking of different McLarens because the McLaren in my mind is always going to be that silver arrow. God damn, when is it coming back?
Well, hopefully
I
in
don't think
2021.
anytime soon. And I
2021
think
maybe,
at
I
least-
never know.
Yeah.
I don't think so. At least for McLaren as a business, given that now they're also manufacturing cars, it just makes sense to have their own identity.
Well, they were
And try
manufacturing
to-
cars. I mean, if you think about it, like they were manufacturing the greatest car of that generation was the McLaren F1. It was the only car which actually competed with the Ferrari Enzo, in my mind at least. I know a lot of people have other cars and other opinions and completely valid, but for me, the McLaren F1 and Ferrari Enzo
I agree,
defined a
but-
generation of vehicles.
Yeah, but then again, it's almost like how it was like earlier they were say a Bugatti or Koenigsegg where they don't dish out a lot of cars, but now they're really trying to take over the mid-range supercars or the ones towards like the mid-range price bracket, and for that you really need branding.
Yeah, the mid-range price bracket here, folks, is about $250,000. So you know who to go to in case you need to borrow money, Rusty.
Oh no, it just
Daddy?
sounds like I wish if I had that sort of money, a mid-range supercar would definitely be the first thing on my list.
So would
It's
you?
actually a great
And then
question
again-
to have. Great
Yeah.
conversation to have, guys. If we all had $500K right now, what's the car we'd get in for our garages?
Lexus-
Again, like let's not
Lexus
consider we are
LFA.
in India.
Lexus
Yeah.
LFA, hands down.
Which one?
Lexus LFA. No other car comes
Lexus.
close. That V10 engine is tuned to sound. Was actually developed. The audio for that engine was worked on by Yamaha as well, for it to funnel engine to the driver as well as outside, and the engine revs to over 10,000 RPM, almost as quick as a Formula One engine. In fact, during testing, they put a champagne glass near the exhaust, and it at the same frequency as the champagne glass, so it actually broke it.
Damn.
Yep.
Damn.
What about you, third world?
What about me? 500K. Let me think on it for a while because this question just popped in my head. What about you, Rust? I think I want to ask this question to Couple and Black Sheep as well. Couple, which car would you go for?
It's
go
got to
for
be the LFA. We've had this conversation, Mara and I agree it is the LFA. If I had to pick an alternative, it'd probably be the Berlinetta.
You and I discussed this
Yeah,
The
and we
F-
agreed on both of the cars.
on both of them. Yes, it's the one reason.
Anyways, round 2 is about to begin. Highlights are out.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Everyone in the chat, while we get back to the race, please do type in your car as well as BaBa.G this time with a brilliant start. Gets the lead on turn 1 with Moto Moto close behind him.
yep. It's interesting to see whether Moto Moto he's shown to conserve the ERS the first few laps in his initial races in the build up to the finals, and let's see whether he does the same here or whether he goes for the overtake. He's going for the overtake. He's on the outside of BaBa.G. Will he be clear? He's well ahead before the braking zone.
He surely should have burned quite a bit of ERS, but no, not really. Interesting, not sure how he was able to do that.
Must be my much more aerodynamically efficient setup, if you think about it.
Possibly, we should be able to get more
Ooh!
details on that through this sector, but BaBa.G once again saving it. He's clearly been playing a lot of drift rally.
So guys, Baba is not looking to win at all. He's just looking at giving us some nice snapshots, because if you take a snapshot of that car with the back end drifting out, it's going to make a really good poster. So even though Moto may win today, Baba's definitely a poster boy. What do you think?
Yeah, there again, like BaBa's been flirting with danger all around, all along. And there was this post on Instagram on the Indian Racing Community page about someone drifting around Interlagos in a Ferrari. Not sure who that was, but Baba clearly should be giving in those clips.
Giving in these clips, but yeah, I think that was Madhav. But yeah, we should probably have a next drift contest between Madhav and Baba to see who is allowed to keep pushing out content for IRC from a drift perspective. What do you think? I'd get behind that for sure.
I
That's what she
definitely
said.
like to as well.
Wow, DWB, wow.
But now Baba 4 tenths behind. If he sticks to this gap, keeps at it without losing too much ERS until the final
Yeah.
lap, I think that's the best strategy for him right now.
Yeah, I certainly think so. But
Yeah.
Baba is again burning way more ERS than Moto Moto. He's I think 20% less on ERS than Moto Moto right now.
Yep, we'll have. Yep, you are correct. 20% and 8 tenths behind now, but as they go through the end of sector 2, Moto Moto is pulling away in sector 2 as well, so I'm not sure if it's completely down to his aero, what he did in lap 1, possibly a better exit.
Yep, this is one of Moto Moto's stronger tracks, so Baba will have to probably really up his game in final few laps, because I think he's picked up a few warnings, if I'm not wrong, because we have been on board, we have seen him go a bit wide, and that's 2 warnings in lap 2 itself. So he probably heard you, Rusty, and heard me as well. He's definitely pushing now. He's pushing harder, I think, burning more ERS, pushing harder than Moto Moto in order to probably stay within that DRS zone and probably go for an overtake on lap 5. Because once you get in that DRS zone, if I'm not wrong, the pace difference needs to be more than 6 tenths in order to break that DRS.
Not sure about the right statistics, but I think I'd place it just around there. As we head into lap 3 and now into the next DRS zone, BaBa.G should be having that. Gap now 5 tenths. I think he'll get it down to 2 tenths, but not try to make a move around here.
More
No,
important.
Arush,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Adil.
No, I would love
my
to hear
point's
what.
a little long. My point's a little longer, so.
No, I would love to hear you talk more about Uruj, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I think Erush really goes to show the suspension strength and the kind of innovation that goes into building the suspension of the cars, right? I mean, your car is at 240 kilometers per hour, if not more, continuously changing angles with the pressure shifting from tire to tire, from the front of the car to the back of the car. So it truly goes to show the suspension is not just keeping in mind, like basic bumps, but also tracks, or at least sectors like Eroge and maybe even Suzuka's 130R, because the car really bumps through those sections. So yeah, that was my point.
I completely agree with you, and I think just on to that point, I once tried, and just how good these Formula 1 cars are. Oh, Baba picks up into second. It's going to make this race much tougher for him.
That's gonna hurt. Yeah, that's gonna hurt.
But I was trying a Assetto Corsa out, and I tried out Spa in one of the GT cars. And this was the first time I was doing it, so I just tried to keep my my right foot floored throughout Rouge and Radion, and I just went straight into the wall. The car just would not grip at all.
Talking of 20 cars and Spa, the 24-hour total 24-hour race at Spa is on right now. Started at, I think it was delayed today, but that's going on right now as well, and that's probably what I'm going to binge on after these few battles we still have left. BaBa.G struggling now with the 2-second time penalty. What do you think? How do you think he's going to take the rest of this race?
I think he's definitely on the back foot here. Let me just check Moto Moto's warnings/penalties. He's got 2 as well, so he's not too far away from 2 seconds. So it may be decided on track as it stands.
Yeah, BaBa will try to push Moto Moto now, I think. Keep his car in the right places, make Moto Moto think twice.
But Moto Moto has 80% ERS compared to BaBa's 25, so overtaking Moto Moto right now is going to become very difficult for BaBa.
Plus, building that 2-second gap.
Yep. I'm just talking about doing it on track right now, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the 2-second gap to Moto will be possible without an incident.
Yeah.
But
unless Moto doesn't spin out or loses race somewhere.
2 seconds for Moto Moto. Game on.
Oh, we cursed it.
And the plot thickens.
Dum dum dum.
But like you guys pointed out, ERS advantage, Moto Moto massive ERS advantage. I don't think BaBa will be able to use any of his 16%, and that's pretty much how much the mapped ERS itself is going to consume every lap.
I think Moto Moto is going to be going for a fastest lap here, though.
Will be interesting to see, but yeah, I think it's really hard for BaBa.G to try and get back right now.
It's not impossible, but it's less than a second with 1 lap to go. It's 6.5 tenths going into Eau Rouge, up into Radion, and 4 tenths. This should be possible, but it would have been possible if BaBa wasn't 4% on ERS. So yeah, that's going to be difficult for BaBa to make up.
But given the nature of races so far, we still can't count anyone out. All it takes is a little mistake by Moto Moto and BaBa.G will be right all over him.
Completely agree. And as we say that, BaBa drifts the car through 2 corners, and that almost looked intentional because he was incredibly quick through that.
Absolutely. I find this left-hander really tricky for whatever reason.
Puan is, if you turn it at the right point, it's almost flat out. I mean, it is flat out if you turn it at the right point with fresh tires. But that being said, let's not take it for granted, because if you touch that inside curb, you spin out. You just completely spin out.
I was just going to tell that I think I call 2 curves the kiss of death. 1, the left-hander over here on the exit, and 2, the right-hander in Bahrain into sector 3. You touch him and you go Spinala. But right now Moto Moto comfortable 1.5 second lead.
Spinala
Will make it 2-0 and BaBa.G has an uphill climb. But hey, it's 2020. We've seen some insane comebacks.
So the next race is like a decider for BaBa then.
Yep.
Yep. It's all in or nothing.
It's all in or nothing, yeah.
BaBa will hopefully make a few late moves, go break later than anything we've seen before, just to get the race a little more interesting for us. What do you think?
Yeah, he needs to throw the kitchen sink at it. There's no 2 ways about it.
Well, if there's one car he can do it in, throwing the kitchen sink, it is the Renault. Emulate the Daniel Ricciardo-esque nature of the car. And more importantly, we saw the Renaults perform very, very well at Monza, but we also saw an AlphaTauri win there.
Oh wait, couples gone for a very wet session.
Is this a Well,
And around Italy turn 1, the braking becomes so much trickier in rain, in wet conditions.
Might play into BaBa's hands, you know.
But we've seen Moto Moto has been brilliant under braking.
Yeah, certainly. I think, but every time I talk to BaBa pre-race, the only thing he can say is, I hope it's a wet race. In fact, I think both him and Black Sheep keep on saying that. I love driving in the rain as well. I'm not very good at it, but I just love it. It's a new challenge. And I think if it's wet, and I think it is, and holy shit, folks, it is not just wet; it's almost a river.
That's pouring. It's really hard to get an overtake done.
Yeah, in fact, let me do something. Let me increase my graphic settings, put my my weather effects on high, and let's see what the effect of the rain is. You can immediately see the puddles and the standing water in the pit lane right there.
Exactly, it looks less like rain and more like mist given the magnitude of.
Oh yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. The IRC team is incredibly sadistic, but we were hoping for this, weren't we?
It's going to be really hard on these drivers given the traction zones, how important the traction zones are in Monza.
It's going to be even harder because of the fatigue. They've been at it for, I think, 2+ hours now. So that is one of the key things that's going to play into their hands. I mean, all the drivers who have raced know exactly what it's like at the end of a 28-lap race in Monaco or something.
You may be
So imagine
wanting to
this.
watch Le Mans, or not Le Mans, but the 24-hour Spa. But
Yep.
Yeah.
IRC pace off is way more mentally stressful. Let's be honest.
Absolutely, it is.
Absolutely.
Yep.
12 seconds to go. Moto Moto making some last minute changes maybe to his setup. Maybe
Or-
he's panicking about not having a wet setup.
I don't think any of the drivers have a wet setup, but let's see what happens off the start. Moto Moto's typically been very, very good off the start. And BaBa has some wheel spin. Moto Moto. Oh, BaBa almost loses it.
Oh, brings it back though. Very smartly brings it back without losing too much.
You know, BaBa should stop playing F1 and start playing Dirt Rally or Dirt 2 or whatever it is.
WRC.
I think he does. I think he already does. And BaBa loses it.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really hard to recover, but he'd want to keep the pressure on Moto Moto.
Has he toasted his tires?
No, the tires, the wet tires don't get toasted so quickly. Especially because the water is there to cool them down. But 5 seconds lead to Moto Moto. Anything can happen, folks. It's the rain. You never know. Moto Moto could make a similar mistake out of turn 1. And I think Rusty did mention that turn 1 and a lot of other strong traction zones and Ascari as well. You could see drivers spinning out. You may see incidents cause a factor in or be a factor in the race result more so than the previous races.
Absolutely, BaBa.G absolutely wrestling with his car around this lap so far.
An oversteady setup may not be the best thing in the wet, and that may be affecting BaBa right now.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's why.
Really clean through
Goes wide
Ascari.
again.
Pick up a penalty on the exit. A warning at the least.
I just feel he's struggling.
Interesting, Moto Moto's used the most DRS of all the races so far, and it's a wet race.
Well, as a driver, I would do that as well, purely to build out a gap, just in case I have an incident. Or very, very slow into turn 1. Just look, cars crawling into the braking zone. Short shifting to 4th, short shifting to 5th, and he's almost in the wall.
And in the drives were usually full throttle by towards the end of the third gear, but Moto Moto went full throttle only towards the end of the fifth gear.
Yep, that allows BaBa to catch up a half a second through in the run up to Della Roggia. But Moto Moto seems to be very, very good through sector 2. That being said, BaBa's done another half a second or another 3/10.
Through there, absolutely throwing his rear end out, letting it step out.
BaBa, you may not be winning this race, but you have certainly won our hearts, man. This is some really exciting driving we're seeing.
I'd love to go into his highlights and take a few pictures of those.
Completely agree with you.
BaBa is trying to cut back on the deficit, but Moto Moto pretty planted as well. Just about there, not giving away too much to BaBa.G. You don't want to get BaBa.G's spirits too high. But yeah, we've seen the best performances when you've got nothing to lose, right? And I think that's the case with BaBa right now.
And BaBa trades fastest laps with Moto Moto. In fact, he goes on 4/10 quicker, and that's a huge lockup. but manages to keep it into turn 1. That's funny because normally when you lock up you go straight on, but he still manages to get the car stopped. The car's squirming. He's really squirming.
I think he's really struggling on the traction zones. Probably needs to be a little more kinder on the throttle, take a little longer short shift. Very clean through there.
Yep, certainly. But the gap between both them has increased again to 6 seconds.
BaBa really seems to be struggling coming out of a corner as opposed to going into the corner. If you notice in every turn, see, he struggles as he comes out of the corner. Could be the lag, but I don't think it's the lag. I think he's struggling
No,
out.
I think not even out of the throttle corner. The moment he's full throttle, he's losing his rear.
Yeah, see, you'll notice now.
Yeah.
He throttles and he loses that again. It was a very, very tiny loss here, but
I'm going to go on board Moto Moto just to see
Yeah.
if he can keep it clean and bring the pace of gentlemen and ladies. This is the race for the pace of championship. It's not just another race that's you've seen today. It's the final race for the. And if Moto
This
Moto
is the
closes this
decider.
out, if he closes this out, we will not have another race. We will not have the remaining 2 races which we have planned. So I can only hope BaBa pulls back because that gives us 2 more races to spectate.
Yeah, be a sweep for Moto Moto through this series at least. I think the last track he dropped was Canada against Masoom.
I can't wait to see how Moto Moto comes back this season and challenges Mara.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but Moto Moto is now pulling away. Gap now up to 9.5 seconds while we go back to our tier 1 talk.
Yeah, I really want to see Moto and Prakhar. As you can see, BaBa really struggling. You know, Renault BaBa setups reminds me of the Renault setup that they had. Where was that? Very, 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 very slippy setup. Just before Spa, because Renault did incredibly well at Spa. Just before Spa, they were really struggling with their downforce, low downforce setup. So it seems like he's struggling with coming out of the corner as his car is going full throttle, as that car kicks up, it's not able to keep itself planted.
Yep, and that being said, I think he's figuring it out because it's a case of too little, too late because he's caught up half a second and he spins
Oh,
and he's into the wall. This is not the incident BaBa needed, and Moto Moto sitting comfortably 12 seconds ahead. Absolutely dominant performance from him today.
he took the stamp, put it on the envelope, licked it.
BaBa.G's
Put it in the
just
letterbox.
cut the entire turn 1 to make the race a bit more interesting for us. He just cut the entire turn 1, picked up the 10 seconds to hopefully. Yeah, he's doing it again. He just wants to give us a show, guys. He just wants to get on Moto Moto's ass and hopefully have some
Just
overtaking this
battle.
race. Hope so, have some overtaking.
Through the final sector now.
Coming to
Brilliant. Yeah, go on.
coming to your earlier comparison of sportsmanship rating versus showmanship, I think BaBa definitely gets points for showmanship right there.
The show must go on. That's BaBa.G's quote for today. The show must go on.
Yep. But as we say that, Moto Moto comes through Parabolica for the last
Fantastic.
time to close in the first edition, and hopefully, judging by how entertaining this event was, there will be many more. But Moto Moto closes the pace of championship for the first promotional event by IRC, and huge
Awesome.
congratulations to Moto Moto. That was a tremendously dominant drive on all 3 races in the build-up, recovering from the penalty with notsomahsoom, winning all of his races after that. So mentally incredibly strong by the AlphaTauri driver.
He absolutely dominated today. So we have BaBa.G here.
Hello.
Hey BaBa,
Mara, you want to ask him any questions?
how was Drift Rally today, BaBa?
Amazing.
No, we were all commending you for, I think, even through Spa, through some of the other tracks,
Japan, Suzuka, where he really saved it.
through Suzuka, you were really like having a bit of lively moments of your back end. I mean, your car's back end,
Moto
not yours.
Moto and Marak, if you can just stay in the lobby and just the online lobby.
Wait, are we gonna have a head-to-head Moto versus me?
That was going to be my plan, but let's begin with an interview first.
Sure, folks.
Moto
We have
Moto, are you with us?
Yep, I'm here.
awesome. So, but first, Baba, I think coming back to the earlier point, we saw your back end. I mean, your car's back end have quite a few lively moments. Was that a setup issue? Was that just you pushing extra hard, or what was it?
I didn't have any setups anyway. I just took the one off time to all of you, so I didn't really know the car. So off times I just couldn't. When sometimes the car would lose, I would lose the car towards the exit of the corner, and that was just like, I think, depending on either me being overeager or just like not. I was definitely not used to the setup. So yeah, and I was overeager also, of course. Why not?
Yeah. What do you think? Where do you think you could have improved today? Maybe do you think you could have taken the fight to Moto Moto if you had prepared a little more, or do you think he was just a little too dominant today?
Yeah, if I probably didn't end up, if I probably had better starts, because his starts were just easy, and if I had better starts, then probably, and I could have stayed ahead in clean air. Those dirty air also affecting me a lot, especially Bahrain. But Bahrain, I didn't consider a strong track. That was definitely not a strong track for me. In Spa, I should have probably, out of chemistry, used my overtake and defended to like maintain at least a few clean air for a few laps.
Yeah.
So that was a mistake.
Yeah, I think that was, we were all hoping for or cheering you on Monza because we wanted to see more races from both of you.
Yeah, I didn't have a setup for Monza, and then for me figuring out on the fly what to do in the wet was definitely, as you could see, not optimal.
Yeah.
As-
Either way, Moto, coming to you, I think absolutely dominant performance. You responded to the penalty you received in Canada very well. You won all your races after that. How did you approach the 5-lapper? Did you do any practice? Did you get setups? What approach did you take going into this event?
Actually, I didn't do any practice at all. But the tracks we happened to race at, I already had a setup for all of them. But barring Italy, Monza. So yeah, I mean, I think I was well prepped with setup wise. It was just the race which I was concerned about, but it all turned out nicely. And yeah, Canada was quite fun actually. I wasn't sure at first if it was my fault when it spun out. I mean, if Masoom spun out because of me, or was it like his own doing? So I just slowed down nevertheless, make it more interesting. And then
Yep. We were all giving
I kind
you.
of regretted that after I got a warning and he came back and overtook me in the line. But
Well, we all were. I mean, in that race, you may not have won the race itself on track, but every single one in the commentary box, and I'm sure in the comments as well, was in awe of your sportsmanship. So kudos to you, Moto, and you were undoubtedly the quickest today. I think, given you raced the likes of BaBa.G and Masoom, who are some of the fastest in IRC, and still came out on top in almost perfect fashion. You were unbeatable today, so congratulations.
thank you.
So, Kapil, what else do we have planned for today, or are we at an end? Kapil, you're muted.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I know it's been a long day for you, Moto, but in true Tekken fashion, now that you've come to the last round and you've won all 10 stages, we've got the final boss. Yeah, you've got the final boss waiting for you as an exhibition match. So if you are up for it, we'd like one last showdown between you and the king himself, MaranelloBaby, in his home ground in USA.
Wait, USA? Okay.
Why don't we have Moto choose the track?
Let's
Why don't we
Moto
have you
choose.
choose? Mara, is that fine with you?
Anytime.
Alright, Moto, your pick. China, interesting.
Interesting,
Alright.
yeah. 5-lapper?
That is up to Mara. We'll give him to choose something.
Let's do a 5-lapper. We can either do 1 5-lapper or 3 3-lappers. I would recommend 1 5-lapper. What do you guys say?
I think
1-5.
Nala, are you with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah. What's your take? 1-5 lapper, or do you want to go all nuts on the man?
Let's do best of 3, I think.
Moto, you up for it?
Sure, why not?
Amazing.
Awesome. So, do you want me to share my screen, or what are we gonna do?
Yeah, let's continue with your screen. Let's get a POV of the man himself as he tries to take down our newly crowned face-off champion. Yeah, I think if you can just join in the session, let's. Oh no, Moto left. This game never ceases to disappoint.
I'm just give me 1
Well,
second.
can
I'm
you
having a
just
few-
check our... Yeah, so I'll be AFK for a bit. So can you guys just carry on for a while?
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry
Don't
about
worry
it.
about it, man.
I'm here to be pleased.
So, Moto, will you
Hello,
please
Harry
please stay in VC with us. It's gonna be a proper session. I know TWP couple will be talking during the race itself, but
Okay. There's a lot of nonsense going around with the game settings, so you're gonna have to excuse me because let's see. Let's have the chat pick out the round number 2. We've got round number 1 picked out by Moto Moto, so let the chat pick out number 2.
yep,
Just-
we can start with China in the meanwhile while the chat is picking it out.
Yeah, let's just keep France just as a placeholder. Sorry, Britain as a placeholder. Let's see
Sure.
what they come up with. And let's keep it dynamic because why not? What is
Sure.
happening?
Sure. Let's go. Did the host change?
I think so.
Oh, that's why. Once the host change, you can't select a track. We'll have to create a new lobby.
Okay. Stand by for technical difficulties.
Couple, just create a new lobby. I think
Yes,
that'll
please.
solve the issues.
I'll just-
I'm a few beers down, folks. And don't take this as an example of drink and drive, but let's see what's possible. Not making excuses, or maybe I am. But Moto Moto
Of course you are.
is a much quicker driver than I am. He's a much quicker driver on his day. So let's hope that it is not his day, for my sake.
Well, it definitely looks to be the case looking at how he obliterated the field, but
I'm in trouble.
Yo. Let me just invite you folks real quick. I'll get under it.
In the meantime, I don't know if it's worth noticing, but the chat is filled with a lot of street circuits. It's Hanoi, Monaco, Vietnam. That's what the guys are asking.
Ooh. Let's go with the new
Monaco.
track. Let's
I
go
think there
with-
should be one China, one new
Vietnam.
track, and one new track Vietnam, and one Monaco to end it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right, because Monaco has the most number of votes.
All right.
Nice. Thank you so much, chat. You've been a lovely audience sticking out for so long, and now you're going to be rewarded with an amazing finale.
Yup.
Leave it to you folks. You're going to be on board MaranelloBaby himself. So you're in for a treat.
So
Whenever you're ready.
I have a quick cue here. So what if I don't know if that's what's going to happen. I mean, Moto is also on this chat. Will it be possible for Moto also to share your Discord? So in the meanwhile, we can maybe switch to your Discord as well.
Yeah,
That's
sure,
gonna be
why
really
not?
difficult.
I can do that.
I mean, it's
No,
just
let Moto share it to us. It doesn't have to be streamed on our YouTube, just so that we can tell people what Moto is doing with his POV.
Couple, I think the lobby settings to 3 laps.
Yeah, just a second. I'll just.
Are you sure 3 laps or
Yeah, 3 laps, 3 races.
Three
Let's do
races,
that.
yes.
sure? Could you put F1 cars as well, or is it going to be one?
Yeah, just a second.
Sure.
I'm screwing up a lot right now.
Don't worry, dude. It's been a long day, and you've been coordinating the entire thing. So
It has been the longest
in the
ever
chat,
stream.
press F for all the admins and everyone who's been delivering consistent content to you for the last 3 hours. To all of us, head of esports, Casey, who's on this chat, head of one of the 4 core horsemen, one of the core admins. That is your couple, and you also have MaranelloBaby, myself, and Rusty Nish. Then you have Black Sheep. I think Black Sheep might have stepped back for a while, but Black Sheep's definitely available as one of our core stewards. So I want all of you all to just press F in the chats, pay your respects to the team who's been working their bum off to deliver this content to you. And And I want to give them a small applause from my end as well. Awesome job, team. I think everyone really enjoyed the stream today.
Thank you so much, and thanks to you guys as well. Doing commentary for 3 hours, I think
It's no
that's
small
amazing.
feat, absolutely.
Yes.
Cheers, boys.
But now, if you can give some more extra enthusiasm,
No,
it's not every day we get two great drivers duking it out head to head.
How do you see two people stream on Discord?
You just click on the
You just
plus
watch the
icon.
third one. You just watch my stream.
Oh yeah, I'll watch yours. Lights out, and away we go. Moto Moto already ahead. Mara comes in from the inside, tweaks that inside line, forces Moto Moto wide like Hamilton usually would. Moto Moto doesn't back off anyways. Mara goes a little wide in that gives Moto Moto the chance to come up right behind Mara. A fantastic overtaking zone coming up right ahead. Mara takes up the bleed. Moto Moto backs off a little bit. Both are really saving up their ERS. And Kapil, if you could just jump on with Mara, I want to see his ERS as well. Perfect. Both are just at around 90. Moto Moto right behind, fantastically keeping that in so close to Mara, 9 and 10. It's so easy to go wide over here just because of the dirty air of the person. But they both keep it clean and concise. I think Mara stepped up a little bit, but Moto still keeps it within the DRS range. Now through this section, guys, I have to apologize. I don't remember the turns of China very well. But I think this is 14, 13. As we come out of 13 and get onto the main back straight, one of the longest back straights on the F1 calendar. Fantastic sight to see both the cars coming out. Moto Moto's keeping up that 6/10, but I really expected him to close the gap to Mara, but Mara has opened that gap up. If you could just jump forward with Mara, I want to see if Mara has used up ERS. No, he hasn't. It's just at the same limit as Moto Moto has kept it. Now as we enter lap 2, MaranelloBaby shows us 134.3, already setting a blistering lap. I think Moto's saving it for the last lap to jump and pounce and do an overtake on MaranelloBaby. Maranello taking a slightly more late cutback line as he goes through 2, exiting out of 3 as you break just before 4. Again, like I said, guys, you can correct me in the chat. I may be losing China's corner names a little bit, but as we come out through 4, Maranello keeps up that lead. It's just under half a second. I mean, just over half a second. That just goes to show that Moto Moto is not falling back, and he's not able to close the gap either, but he's keeping his pace consistent. That's a fantastic mark of a driver, coming back by 2/10 through this section, through 10. Breaking just before the 50-meter board. Does he close the gap to Mara a little bit? It's still consistent. Mara going a little wide there. I don't know if it's his natural line, because Mara does have a tendency to take a slightly wider line and getting a faster cutback into the straight after that turn. On to the start-finish straight. Mara trying to go a little defensive. The AlphaTauri of Moto Moto behind him sticking and hanging on to get that fast slipstream. As we go through turn 15, I think that is, 15, 14, 15 and now 16. Through 16, eating up the bollard on entry, Moto Moto. The moment a driver eats up a bollard on that turn 16 entry, you know he wants that overtake in this turn. Through lap 3, this is where the ERS is going to completely come into play. I think Mara's got 60% ERS and Moto's saving it around 50. Both the boys are on this Discord chat with us right now, so they can hear my commentary live, I think. So they know exactly what the other person is doing. Maranello, the gap, as you can see, is just above 1/10 more than half a second, around 6:59.702. So it's around sector 2 that Moto Moto starts losing time. Through 9 and 10 especially is where Moto seems to be losing a lot of time, and then through sector 3, again another 1/10 he loses. So sector 1 is where he's keeping it really fast and consistent, and through the end of sector 3 is where I think he seems to be gaining a lot of time. In fact, I think Moto Moto is gaining most of his time through turn 2 and turn 3, because that's where Mara is going a little wide, saving his tires I think a little bit more, or maybe he's harvesting a little bit more ERS through that section, but that will not matter anymore as we come out through 13 onto the start finish back straight once more, ending this 3 lap across China. I'm going to keep quiet and not commentate through this section because I want the boys to focus.
Absolutely on pace, equal ERS, and pretty much equal across the line. That's race 1 in the bag for the king himself.
That was a good race. I think Moto Moto truly goes to show that Moto Moto is one of our. What was Moto Moto's other gamer name, Kapil?
Hand of Todd.
Hand of Todd, that's the one. Hand of God, Hand of Todd. So I think Moto Moto's truly positioned himself as one of those blitzkrieg kamikaze drivers of this season, coming out of nowhere and taking us all by storm. Maybe it's put Maranello in a position as well because Moto Moto is the one with the faster lap, almost a second faster, or was that 4/10 faster than Maro? That was fantastic. I mean, Moto Moto really good, goes to show. Boys, if you are in this lobby right now, Adil, if you could tell us exactly what you felt, Moto, if you could tell us one sentence each, not more than that. Starting with Adil.
I think that was a tremendous race by Moto. He clearly, like I said, he's a tremendously fast driver. So I really enjoyed that race.
Moto?
Yeah, that was quite fun actually. Yeah, dirty air sector 2, so can't really do much there, but yeah, great race.
Awesome.
Bumped it up to 5 laps this time around so that everyone can enjoy the DRS train and
Nice.
Yep.
Kapil, you wanna take the front on this commentary because I don't know this lap very well.
Sure, I'd be more than happy to. Let's go, boys, for round 2.
Come on.
So this was supposed to be featured in this year's F1 calendar in real life, but unfortunately with the pandemic we couldn't.
Well, we haven't forgotten Vietnam, so we're bringing it now for the main event tonight. So Mara is right now in P2, they're picking out the setups. It's all about the back straight in Vietnam. You've got to save your ERS and wait for probably 4th or 5th lap when you'd make your move, your pounce with all the ERS saved up. But let's see what strategy the boys have.
Take it away, Kapil.
Lights out and away we go. Mara gets a nice start. He's already side by side. He's already making the move on Moto Moto. Moto Moto getting great starts throughout the tournament, but Mara just showing him who's boss right now. He's already into P1.
Oh, nice try.
Moto sticking it up there, backing out at the last moment. Smart move by him because he's got to keep this car alive. He wants to make it to the end.
Did I squeeze you there? Moto?
No, I believe he's on push to talk or he's really concentrating. He wants that win, Mara, so don't let it go. Oh, but unfortunately he goes really deep into that roundabout and I believe he's lost a little bit
No,
of
that
damage.
was completely fair. No worry.
Yep,
And the
but
front one he has no damage.
yeah,
The damage is
but-
off, I think so.
Oops. Anyways, the gap is now over a second. Let's see if Moto Moto can, using the spirit bomb and the power of the people that are in chat, get back on the gearbox of MaranelloBaby because he's just driving away. Especially, I believe Sector 3 is one of his hotspot, his savory dishes, if you will. It's 1.7 seconds. Yeah, 1.7 seconds into Sector 3. Come on, Moto Moto. We're cheering you on, and so is the chat. Give us a great race.
Oh, that was nice. He's got really good car control through this section, Moto Moto, as you can see. I don't have too much track knowledge of this track, but so I will not comment on the expertise of it. But Moto Moto definitely keeping a very close. Gets a good exit out of the last corner, as you can see, already closing 3/10 on Mara through that last corner. But Mara seems to be getting his pace back. I'm not sure what happened there, how that 3/10 of a
I
gap
know all.
got built and
Thank
closed.
God damage was off, otherwise my race would have been over.
Mara seems to be shooting away. Couple.
Yeah, it definitely looks to be the case. Maybe a little bit of fatigue for Moto Moto. I mean, yeah, he's just gone ahead and won the first edition of IRC Pace-Off, so he's probably just taking a victory lap along with the king himself. Maybe just not piss him off today and save it for another day. We don't know, but anyway, it's been a great show so far. But yeah, the gap has increased to around 2 seconds, and Nara seems to be ruthless because this is his first or second race of the night. He's got that energy and he just wants to put on a great show for our people. Any words, Moto Moto, as you go into the third sector? What's running through your mind right now?
I guess you want to concentrate.
Not a great sector to ask him a question, I think.
That's precisely why I asked him. I wanted to hear the silence. That's just pure concentration in his part. He's not gonna let this go just yet. Having said that, I made a little bit of a boo-boo, but
Yeah, here's what I'm going to interrupt. Yeah, here's what I'm going to interrupt you, Kapil. We have with us the head of IRC Esports, Kalpesh Chaudhary, or KC66, who was the winner of our season 2 on a Mercedes. Casey, you can correct me on that specific detail. Casey, what are your thoughts on the race so far?
I think it's been a long night today. So far, I think Moto Moto is obviously impressed, but he versus Maranello, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I have no comments really.
Okay, see, he seems to be struggling through this section a little bit, right? Coming out of that corner, he went wide on the wall
looks
twice.
like his setup's just not set up for a maximum grip. Maybe he's a little more streamlining from the way I can see things at least. That's why he's really losing out on getting that crucial traction out of that roundabout section. But yep, it looks to be smooth sailing for Supreme Leader. Is no hiccups other than turn 1 in turn 2 in lap 1. Yeah, he's just cruising away, and I think it's gonna be win number 2 for the night.
I think it's time for Kapil to ask the question now to Adil.
Adil, what's running in your mind right now? Which is just fair.
Oh, I'm just really enjoying the sector 3. I mean, just sticking to the curbs, making sure that you don't spin out is always a challenge in this place, and more importantly, keeping it on the wall. Thank you for turning damage off, because that allows me to talk. That's probably the only saving grace over here.
Yep. We took it a little easy on the chap for now, but yeah, a little bit of lock up. So it's fine. You got on the bag. Looks like you're really getting that great traction out of turn 2 and 3, and that's something that is quite visibly different from you and Moto. Like you can see, not on this occasion, but on every other occasion, you'll be gaining a ton of time there. And especially these curves, you just, okay, in this occasion, Moto Moto is learning from you. He's taking that curve fantastically, taking a wide entry into the back straight. That's fantastic driving from him on this lap in particular. But the gap has unfortunately still increased because Mara is just hammering it down. Any thoughts, third word?
Yeah, as of right now, the only thought that I'm having is I wish I knew this track a little better so I could join you in that commentary. But I think you're doing, the first lap when I saw Mara slowing down at that hairpin, I'm like, is he doing a Moto Moto when against Masoom? Like, is he slowing down so that he can catch up with him? That's honestly what I thought when I saw Mara suddenly slowing down. I'm like, wait, what's happening? Oh, that's a hairpin. Ooh, Moto Moto gets a shunt there. So how would you set up your car through this for this race, Kapil?
It's a difficult one. It all kind of depends on your position. If you are in the back of the grid, you'd want to have a little less drag so that you can have the pace in that humongous back straight. But probably if you're in the lead, you'd probably want to make up or keep your position, and no better way of getting or solidifying that by getting amazing exits through the crucial traction zones. You probably have a little more downforce, especially on the front, if you're in the lead. Mara, but since you're our leader right now, would you do anything different?
I think yes, certainly. It's very tricky, right? Because you need a lot of extra turn in, but at the same time, you also need rear grip. And if you put too much turn in on your car, that makes it oversteery. So I think you need a lot of rotation from the car from non-aero factors like ARB, camber, toe, all of that. But when it
Yeah.
comes to the aero itself, you do need to be very aggressive. I'm running 2.8 over here right now.
Oh yeah. Grip is an all-time premium for the rear tires in Hanoi. It's even especially with those hard tires, simply third sector is just a drift fest, if you will. Because that's precisely why you can see Mara's setup being so aggressively set up for understeer, because those tires simply do not grip, especially in sector 3. But having said that, it is the end of the second race. Gaps increase all the way to just under 3 seconds. Mara takes another easy win. Moto Moto, thoughts on this entire experience?
Yeah, I really don't like this circuit, so
I think this
Oh, you
circuit
should've-
is not a very nice circuit. I'll be honest. I agree with Moto there.
barring the third sector is really flowing. It's pretty nice, but I think rest is just trash.
I completely agree with you, man. Sector 1 and 2 are just a pain in the ass because you've got so many understeery corners. The car just doesn't want to grip, and then Sector 3 is suddenly one of the best sectors in the F1 calendar. So it's a mixed bag of feelings, to be honest.
Okay, for pure pleasure of overtaking and driving, and for overtakes, what would you guys like to have for the final track?
I would say go for Britain, guys.
Moto, what do you think?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Which is your favorite track apart from China? Spain, Silverstone, anything?
Belgium?
For overtaking, come on.
You've
guys.
done Belgium a few too many times today. Let's do another track.
That's
Guys,
intimidating.
do
Let's
Britain.
do Suzuka then.
Okay, Suzuka works.
Okay.
Do you have a
Final
setup?
event.
Can you give me a setup for Suzuka if you have one?
Me?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're gonna say
Yeah.
no to that because you need a disadvantage. That's any.
I
Okay,
use
fine.
a really oversteery setup though.
I like. I mean, it's fine. Either way, I'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Well, if we're helping you as much as possible, Moto Moto, let's try not to be equal on this half because we really want you to win. But it is raining here for the third and final race.
It is.
It's like a flashback to which year was it? Third World, 1980s, between Hunt and Lauda.
83, I think.
Yeah, 83 in Fuji. So we've got final finale here, right here in the House of the Rising Sun.
Boys, it was a 1976 World Championship where
Yep,
Mara
1976.
had just 3 points ahead of Hunt.
Correct. Mario Andretti won that race, and correct, that's the one. Yeah, 97.
So between
1976.
Mara and Moto, who is Hunt? Who's Lauda?
It's very tough to tell because none of these guys are calculative drivers according to what I've seen. I think
Oh, wait.
both of them
I
are-
would say Mara is more of a hunt.
Hunt, yeah,
He's more
absolutely.
emotional, and Moto is more
Yeah,
of
he
a
wants to do the pre-race routine like how Hunt does.
Anyways,
Have a drink.
final race of tonight. We've got intermediate competitions. Motos started off with a fantastic launch. He's he's already 8 tenths above, and Maranello is, let's see, for once in the trailing end of the start of the race. So we got 5 laps around Suzuka, our finale. It's been a great showing from Moto Moto all day long. Let's see if we can end in a high. But Maranello in no way of shape or form is going to make it easy for our champion right now.
Oops.
What do you think, Kalpesh? Casey? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I don't really know because I'm really tired and I'm just. But I think Moto might have it in his hand this time. I think he's doing Japan. I think for the second time. I think. So he definitely has the experience and obviously he's shown his ability
No,
already.
I don't think I've done Japan today.
I
Ah,
did it against BaBa.
No, that
oh
was
no, I
Danny.
think Tanny, yes. So it's new for both of them. So I think it's gonna be a surprise. I want it to be very very close though, just like BaBa and Tanny. What a race that was!
Yeah.
will we get the first glimpse of the overtaking abilities from MaranelloBaby? Because he's been too aggressive at the start and just snatched first position in the first sector itself. But this
I'll
time
make a
he's got to...
prediction. I'll make a prediction. Lap 4, turn 1 on the inside. That's where Mara tries to do the overtake.
Oh, you heard here first, folks.
Oops.
It's a bet, but that's not looking too easy for Mara right now. Lap
set
2
up
at
this
Moto
grab.
Moto is increasing his lead.
Understeering.
He's around 1.2 seconds. Mara's complaining of his setup being too understeering, and that's not helping. His effort is charged back.
Yeah, you can
on.
see he's on full steering lock through 6.
So is Moto Moto. Well,
What's going through your mind right now?
Couple, that was for you.
oh, that was
No,
for me,
Adil,
that was
Adil.
Moto.
Oh, Adil, okay.
Keep the car on track.
Car on track, vice versa. Moto, what about you?
Yeah, same to be honest.
Righty. Well, I do want to let you guys know that there is damage off. So Moto, in case you feel like there's any or is too much of a threat, you know what to do. You've got that second pedal on your left. Don't even hesitate to use it. We'll all forgive you for it. Anyways, the people's champion is 7.5 tenths off. Even Moto Moto is fantastically keeping up on this end, but looking at Mara is destroying those bollards. Is kind of unapologetic in his drive right now, screwing the track left and right just to get closer and closer to his rival right now. Third world, keep it together, man.
Oh my god.
You're really putting off Mara right now. He's making all mistakes thanks to you. And that's a good thing for Moto because he's increased the gap. That
When you
mistakes.
go on board with Moto, I want to see what grip he has on track.
I think the BI is starting to affect Adil right now. he's actually, he can actually see in the rain.
He's getting tunnel vision and stuff.
Oh my god.
Oh, but then again, he's sending it into Techno 1 like it's in the dries or something. But yeah, this
That
man
was all
is-
you. That was all you, couple.
Yep.
Like how Casey said, no, all the beers acting up now. Beer and nachos is coming up now.
I think the setup decision I made was a drunk decision. But anyway, gotta live with it.
Oof, not turning in at all. So when you don't turn in as fast, that compromises how soon you can get on full throttle as well. So as you can see, that's why Mara's taking a sweet time to get on throttle, but it's a sweet victory for Moto. Not one mistake so far, as the track seems to be slightly drying up right now. Is that just me?
No, it is just you. It's raining harder than ever. Para getting tons and tons of oversteer, but handling it like the pro he is. This is like a clutch moment for him because this is when he goes into the zone and just strikes out two
Struggling.
great laps. Yeah, he's struggling right now. You can see that he's using that much more ERS just to stay with Moto Moto. A great commanding hold of the race is what Moto Moto has right now. But it just takes one wrong corner and that could be the end of the race. But yeah, let's just wait and find out.
1 extra inch in the gravel.
Absolutely.
And the prediction that I made didn't go. Oh, brilliant! The way he brought the car back, really well done.
Looks like Mara's starting to crack under the pressure. Not the true makings of a champion. That's why Moto Moto could be running away and be crowned the people's champion because, as you know or may not know, this just in, the last race has 5 times the points as the first race and the winner would take on.
And the IRC
it wasn't.
definitely been the twist in the story at the last
Yeah.
minute.
You know how when as kids we used to play cricket, right? And the guy who bought the bat and the stumps would keep making up the rules as he got along. No, macha, it's double top, that's out. No, dude, one top, one hand. No, dude, that's two, that's four. That's couple right now.
Shh, don't expose me. Anyways, going into the final lap of IRC Face Off, it's been an absolute treat to have 32 of our fastest Indian racers on duking it out head to head. It's
Remember
been a
when you
bit-
used to give me shade for saying that?
What?
The fastest Indian race e-sport drivers are
Well,
here.
they are right now for sure. Maybe not back in the day, that's why I was a little skeptical, but nonetheless.
Now we've got the fastest certification.
Well, maybe the 31 of the fastest drivers because I ain't neighbor in the picture, boy. But having
Humble
said that,
brag.
yeah, maybe I'm just Jolene Palmer. I should just stick it with the commentary box. That's
Stick to
what
the
I'm, that's all
pundit,
I'm good
stick to the
here.
punditry.
Talk about promoter show. And
Ah,
I
yes.
I think Kapil, you play a Toto role better than Jolene Palmer.
Oh, thank you so much. I'll take that any day.
Ooh, that was
He
nice.
almost took us to the WD Steven.
Now we all know how Casey became head of esports.
It's
Oh
just
no, I think
one
that
step
was
away.
my turn, not nothing Kapil had to do with it.
That's exactly how. Who was in Mercedes before? Rosberg or Toto? I think Rosberg was there before Toto came in, right? As a principal.
Maybe, but it's kind of irrelevant right now because Moto Moto's going into the final chicane, the triangle chicane, for the last time tonight to take the
Fantastic
checkered
ride.
flag.
Clean,
That
fantastic.
is your
Whoa!
winner.
Whoa! Whoa! Did that just happen? Did that just happen? Shit, I thought Mara won for a second. I was like, what?
He actually did.
No, Moto came first.
penalties pulled him back.
Oh. Damn, son, what was that?
Oh my god.
Oh, what a finish to this night.
What was that?
A fitting finish to a
Awesome.
fantastic event. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being great sports. And congratulations again to our winner, the People's
Moto
Champion,
Moto.
face-off champion, none other than Moto Moto himself. Yeah, any last words, MaranelloBaby, before we have a send-off for the great
No,
one
I
itself?
think congratulations, man. This event took a lot of time and effort from a lot of the IRC team. So thank you to every single one of you who was involved. And believe me, if you see all of the chats, it was incredibly difficult to coordinate 32 different racers, multiple different races. And congratulations to Moto Moto. I think you clearly have way more pace than almost every other driver in India. So excited to see you probably win way more in the league.
Whoa, that was nice. That was a nice comment.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You too.
Rusty just
And,
says me you can't. Rusty just told me you can't have few beers and still be this fast.
That's unfair. but I can't wait to continue this. To continue seeing this battle in the upcoming Tier 1 races. It's going to be right on there.
So do I, man. I'm really excited.
This was a fun evening. Thank you so much to the IRC admins for making it happen. I mean, you guys brought alive an entertainment that I don't think any esports entity in India comes close to doing something as entertaining as this regularly on weekend after weekend. Rusty, you want to sign us off?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks to everyone who stayed tuned. And like you guys said, thank you to everyone in IRC. Let it be Faizan, old couple, and like literally a whole bunch of people for hosting the lobby, staying through for these 3.5, 4 hours. It's been a pretty long night, and boy, was it fun. I cannot wait for another one like this. And we will see you next Saturday at 8 o'clock for the Tier 1 races. But similarly, on Thursday, we will have the race, right? Couple, can you confirm?
Yeah, definitely we will. We're back at it for all our leagues next week.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Have a good night. Have happy festivities. Stay safe and
Yep.
keep
Happy
that
Dussehra,
distance.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Have a good night, guys.
See you, everyone.
See you.
GG
Bye.
boys.